up? What's going on, everybody?
I,
Everybody doing okay?
I really
Jonathan,
like I like our theme song a lot. I don't know why. I just like it so much. I'm like always whenever you play it, I just like automatically start dancing to it.
I mean, for some reason, it could just be me, but I kind of feel like it might need a little bit of a modern tune-up. But I do like it. Like you can't help but start bopping to it. Like once
Yeah,
you hear it, you're just like, got to get it. But, anyways, Jonathan, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just making sure everybody, hopefully on Facebook and elsewhere, sees the feed. So, but anyways, anybody who's watching this episode, welcome to Just Visiting. My name is Eric. This is Jonathan, and this is basically just a live stream discussion show where Jonathan and I were best friends. We just talk about all different kinds of things we want to talk about. We talk about politics. We talk about TV and movies. We talk about sports. We'll talk about music. Pretty much anything. I mean, well,
Hmm.
anything involving culture, and the culture of the United States and sometimes the world. So feel free to join into in the discussion down below. So we can hopefully reference a comment, pull it up every once in a while. Once we get enough people, we're hoping to do maybe like a Q&A show or something like that. So you can also follow us real quick before we get started. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook. You can go to Instagram. We're on Twitter. We are also on, what are the two other places? We're on Twitch. And we're also, did I already say Facebook? If I didn't, we're on Facebook. And all of them are going to be at Just Visiting WJE. We need to have like a little stinger for that or something where we can just like pop it up and it's like, there it is. So, but anyways, you can go to any of those places and find us. But we're going to go ahead and get started today. But first off, Jonathan, I already asked, but how are you doing today? How's everything going in your life?
I'm good, man. I got a magic head, so
You got a magic hat.
yeah.
Oh. I didn't even notice your tagline, John Magic Hat. I just went with Goose today, which is Sean's. That's Sean's name. He wants to be Goose in that one episode. I need to rewatch that show. I haven't watched it in a while. Anyway, so I'm doing pretty good. I was just telling you earlier we got some of our Christmas stuff up. So if people have been watching the last couple episodes, they'll see that now I have behind me right here. I have some tinsel up with lights, and then we have like lights strewn around our apartment and different things going on. It's kind of nice. So my family
Getting in
came
the
over,
spirit.
and yeah, my family came over last weekend, and they got to kind of see how we dressed it up and stuff, and so that was pretty nice to be able to share that with them.
Here's
But
my question: why do you think people don't like Christmas coming early? Like, I love Christmas. If you could do
yeah,
6 months of Christmas, I would love that. I would love Christmas early.
I think I think it's the materialism and the commercialism behind Christmas. That's what people generally don't like. Like I feel like if you were like,
I hear that a lot.
do you like food? Like the food at Christmas time, they'd be yeah. Do you like these other do you like getting gifts on this day? Yeah, I do. So it's like it's just all the commercialism of like I don't know, I like it because I like Christmas because I like being around family, I like celebrating with them, I like all those little things. And I do kind of like the shopping aspect of it. Not as much. That's not really why I'm excited about Christmas. Like I don't think, "Oh, I can't wait for Christmas." Like I get to go to Target. Like I think I can't wait for Christmas because
Walk
I
around
get
for 2 hours and I
yeah
can't find what I'm looking for.
yeah. I mean I'm assuming that's why you like Christmas as well. I mean is that why you're a big Christmas fanatic?
Well, I mean, I think Christmas is just like one. It's a close of a year. I mean, that's more like New Year's, but
Yeah,
it feels like the year is like you kind of look back on the year and um while it's not called Thanksgiving, you become thankful, just like not just for the
hmm
presents under the tree, but you become more thankful for your family members. You become more thankful for your present life circumstance, wherever they may be.
yeah,
Because it's just a joyous holiday. It's a holiday just filled with joy. Even if you're going through a rough time, Christmas is always an uplifter because everyone's smiling, everyone's having a good time. It's a little cold
yeah.
outside, but we're all good because everyone's excited about whatever they're gonna get for Christmas or that their friend or family members is coming this year or
hmm
whatever. It's usually always a joyous occasion. So I absolutely love Christmas. I just the I keep hearing people say it's been so commercialized. I'm like, I'm not sure it's ever not been commercialized, and so I don't
hmm
really understand that. Uh, I'm not gonna say I hate Christmas commercials. I mean, They have Christmas songs in them, so I like Christmas songs. I
Yeah.
love Christmas songs.
Yeah.
So
I feel like this is why I go back to, we talked like I think 2 weeks ago for Halloween where I talked about Charlie Brown, but like that's why I like Charlie Brown so much, like Charlie Brown Christmas, because it always evokes the spirit of the holiday, and the whole point of Charlie Brown Christmas is like, oh, everybody thinks Christmas is great because of commercialism, and then they're like, no, it's not. Like, this is what Christmas is about, and this is why it's a great holiday, and this is why we celebrate it. And so that's why I've always liked like those types of things, because it kind of brings me back to where my mind and my heart are supposed to be. But you can get, I mean, sometimes sometimes the Christmas season as a whole can be a drag when you're like having to rush to 5 different stores just to get a present, or but I actually do like that part, mainly
I like
because
I like that too. I like it too.
yeah, I like it because I'm thinking I can't wait to like give this person this gift. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of usually what I'm like. I'm so excited to be able to give it to them. Makes me happy. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, we'll go ahead and get started for today. That's our little Christmas talk. I feel like I kind of like that we always have this little talking segment at the beginning that we've been doing lately. It's nice before we just like jump into it.
Yeah.
But anyways, the first thing we're going to talk about today, we're going to do some Eric's picks. By the way, we'll also talk a little bit about later on. We'll talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff a little bit, just because it's on our minds. We thought we'd talk about it a little bit. But before we even get to that, we're going to be talking about Disney Plus Day. We're going to be talking about a couple different like movie trailers and stuff that came out. But mainly what we're going to start off with today is that Cam Newton is back on Jonathan's Carolina Panthers.
Woo! You know what? Dang it!
Which I
meant
can't
to wear my
believe
Cam
that.
Newton shirt today. I was going.
Why didn't you do that?
I was like, you gotta wear it, but I forgot. And so now I'm in this drab, brown, reddish kind of color. But it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, Cam Newton is back. Superman has returned to Metropolis. He was killed by Darkseid, and he went to the Patriots for a while.
Is that the narrative they're going with? That would be really awesome, because I know he always does the Superman thing. So
no, I just came up with this on my own. But
that's smart. You should be a writer.
He got killed by Darkseid, and so he came back in his gray, Patriots uniform. But then he realized he had to come back to the good old red, white, and blue and yellow. So he's back with the Carolina Panthers. I have a lot of mixed thoughts about this. One, I want to say I thought it was reasonable for them to cut him in the first place. So a lot of Panthers fans didn't like that because they were so attached to Cam Newton. They were so attached to the team. I'm sure if you asked a lot of them how many times they went back and rewatched the 2015 season, it was probably excessively a lot, because that was just such a magical season that we had. And so a lot of them were so wanted to hold on to that they weren't ready to let go of Cam Newton, because he was kind of the centerpiece of that whole season.
Yeah.
But he was injured. And then they were due to pay him a bunch of money, and they were like, we got a new coach in, we got a new owner in. Do we really want to move forward with something that was kind of from the past? And he hasn't been really performing to that same 2015 standard since then. I mean, he was injured. He's just injured. And so it was like, hey, it's better for him and better for us, probably, or more better for us, if we go ahead and let him go and move on with our future and actually start a rebuilding process. So it made perfect sense to me why they cut him. I was on board with it, because I was like, not because I don't like Cam Newton. I love Cam Newton. I just was ready to start the rebuild, because we knew it was coming. We just were trying to delay it for so long. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I was actually just more surprised by the fact that he showed up seemingly out of nowhere. Like I was watching ESPN, or I was watching some sports show last week, and then like in the middle of the week, I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday, they were like, Cam Newton has just showed up for practice, and I was like, what? I was like, where did this happen? Like this, like I was like, am I back in 2015 again? Like this feels like like that's where it was. And then lo and behold, they beat an 8-1 team. Is that
so we beat the Cardinals. Our defense played great, but the even better part was the surprising appearance of Cam. Like, he got to play in the game, because no one thought he was going to play that game, because he had just gotten back to the team that, like, I think on Thursday, I want to say Thursday, Friday, he just came back to the team. We have a whole new system, a whole new playbook that he hadn't even learned yet, so they weren't expecting him to play at all. And so he gets in on 2 goal line snaps, basically, and scores touchdowns on both of them. He only played in that, I think it was first half. He had 2 plays, and he scored on both plays. And so it was just amazing.
To be honest, that's a smart way to use him though, because he's a
Oh
running
yeah,
quarterback, and I know he
yeah,
ran for one of those, so
yeah.
it just kind of makes sense
Yeah,
that they
he's a
would put
truck.
him
I
in
mean,
as the
he's literally a truck, and
yeah
so like you really don't want to tackle him if you don't
yeah.
have to. So
They
it
also
was a
say
great call.
I've always heard too. I mean, I've seen some people online hype this up too much, but I've heard that he does have a pretty good, he has pretty good prowess when it comes to memorizing plays and knowing the plays really like inside and out.
Yeah.
I don't know how much about that is true, but I've always heard that from him. So
Well, I mean,
or
a lot
about
of people
him.
say that the Patriot system is very complex. I mean,
Hmm.
it takes a lot of learning to understand the full complexity of the system.
Hmm.
So he went there and started as soon as he went there. Bill
Hmm.
Belichick gave him the starting job. Has nothing but praise for Cam Newton, which is something you don't really hear from Bill Belichick when it comes to
Hmm.
quarterbacks. At least he's always like, "Well, as long as they don't turn the football over," you know.
Yeah.
But that was so. I mean, that's pretty impressive to me. I think he probably starts next game just
Hmm.
because I mean all the hype surrounding him. We have a
Hmm.
home game. All the fans are going to want to come and see Cam Newton play.
Hmm.
Um, and Washington doesn't look that good, so I think
Yeah.
he'll be fine. We'll be fine at least to play them. Even if he plays bad, the defense is still good enough
Hmm.
to help us win.
Do you think he plays the whole game, or do you think he just starts?
Oh yeah, I think he plays the whole. If he starts, he definitely plays the whole game.
Really?
Unless something crazy happens where he like first 3 possessions he throws picks or something like something crazy
Hmm.
where he's like he really plays bad the first couple of
Hmm.
possessions. Then they bring in the backup just to I don't know, kind of get us moving in the right direction.
Hmm.
I'd be surprised though if he comes out and he plays bad because I think we kind of find our identity as a team, which is what I've been saying since like
Hmm.
week week 6. I've been saying that we don't have an identity yet. We don't know who we are. And so I think our
Yeah.
identity is becoming we're a running football team. We run
Mm,
hard and then we play good defense. That's all we are. We don't need
mm,
a
mm.
bunch of big shots. We don't need to throw the ball 40 times. We're gonna run it down your throat. You're gonna
Yeah,
like it, and then we're gonna go play hard defense against you.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it definitely makes the season for you guys a lot more
Oh
interesting.
man,
I'm
so much
definitely
hope now. I feel like I feel like we're a breath away from a Super Bowl. No, I'm just kidding.
well, you're a long ways from the Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah,
as far as the
absolutely.
Lions, but
Absolutely.
you're pretty far. So,
Before
um,
before we move on, I just want to say, did you see his touchdown?
I did, yeah,
Yeah, did you see him screaming, "I'm back,
yeah, I did.
I'm
His
back"?
scream was really weak, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
It wasn't like this.
yeah,
Wasn't like this hearty like I'm back.
yeah,
It was like I'm back, and I was like, what? I was
yeah.
like, that's weird. But
Yeah. It
anyways,
definitely was. I never would have thought he was a deep throw guy anyway. Like kind
yeah,
of like he doesn't like when you hear him talk, he doesn't seem like he has bass in his voice at all.
yeah,
So
that's
I
true.
wasn't expecting that, but
Hmm.
I was so excited when he did it because it felt
Hmm.
like it was appropriate, and then he got like the penalty
Yeah.
for it. And I was like, I'm fine. Take the
Oh,
penalty.
I didn't know he got the penalty for
Yeah,
it.
he
That's
got a
kind of
celebration
weak.
penalty. Yeah,
That's stupid. Yeah, they should have just let that go. But whatever. Like that's the refs trying too hard.
Yeah, but
Um.
I will say we are on pace for a playoff game, at least one, at least a wild
Mhm.
card, and we're not too far from winning our division either. Because if we can beat the Bucks and they lose maybe a game or two here and
Mhm.
there,
Mhm.
we could win this division, and then
There's
we really
yeah.
in position.
I mean the way the NFL's going, there was a lot of upsets this week from what I saw. I mean,
Yeah,
it seemed like like teams with winning records getting beat by teams that were like 500.
yeah,
I was kind of
yeah.
surprised to see that. So I'm also interested in how my picks went last week. I don't remember where they were worse, to be honest. Because I saw some teams that I picked, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, dang, I didn't. I don't think I picked that team. At least I don't remember." But the ones that I was like for certain seemed to be right, like Green Bay.
That was a good
My
call with the Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, that was a good call.
yeah. I just kind of figured I was like, if he's not there, like they're gonna lose. But I was like, I'm almost 90% sure he's gonna start. Just because he was already better, and I know it was like I was thinking they're not gonna hold him back. I don't think the franchise is gonna hold against him that he didn't get the vaccine. I think he's just gonna play,
Yeah,
because they want to win. Like I said last week, so that was kind of interesting to see that play out. But anyways, we'll go ahead and go into Eric's picks. But yeah, I was super surprised that Cam Newton was back. I hope your team does good, man. I don't have any. I've never had any issues with the Carolina Panthers. I mean, they're not in the Detroit Lions division, so
no.
they're kind of one of those teams that you root for because you don't hear like it's kind of like if the Miami Dolphins have success. It's like you don't. They're not really a very successful team generally, so you kind of like seeing them have success.
The
So
underdogs. Yeah,
Yeah. So I kind
Yeah.
of feel that way about the Panthers a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like the first year of the Kansas City Chiefs when they started doing well with Patrick Mahomes. It's like everyone's cheering for them because it's like we've never seen this team win anything. So this would be really cool if they won a Super Bowl with this guy who's kind of likable. He's got a frog in his throat, but for the most part, he's cool. But on to Eric's picks.
Yep. Week 10.
Now, guys, it is time for one of our favorite segments on this show.
Your favorite?
It is a segment so great, so unbelievable that now the NFL is trying to copy us and do their own picks of the week.
They copied us? Are you sure about that?
This week, we got Eric's picks. Dun, 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 dun.
Still working on that.
Oh, yeah. Stinger. We should just put on a black piece of paper, Stinger coming soon. And then I just hold it up on my camera.
Hold it up to the thing.
Yeah, it's construction paper. It's just a Stinger coming soon.
That would be really funny. Yeah.
I
love that.
All right, Eric's picks. So this week, Eric, how do you think you did this week?
Hold on just a second. I want to get you. Can you make me small and you big? Go ahead and do that. Go for it. There we go. Now it's like you're interviewing me.
Okay. Eric, how did you think you did?
I'm not very confident. I think I did a little bit better than last week, but not like a lot better. Mm-hmm. I could see myself being about the same. What did I have that last week? I had a losing record, right?
Oh yeah, you're 2-12 last week. You don't want to be the same last week.
Oh yeah, I think I'm better. I think I'm better than last week, for sure.
How many wins do you think you got? We want to place a.
I'm gonna say 6.
6. Okay, yeah. That's not bad. So you basically had a 6. It's like 5.5 because you got the tie.
I got 5.5 for the tie. Yeah, just give me the tie, man. Just give me the tie.
So this week you were 5-8-1.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah,
5-8-1. That's okay.
Yeah,
it's better.
Yeah. Your Lions let you down because you bet against them and they tied the game.
I know. I couldn't. They couldn't just lose for me this week. That's kind of how I feel. Their coach said something interesting though. He was like, I guess it's the only thing you could say in this situation, but he was like, I know, like people. He was like, but I gotta say, like we've been getting. He was like, we're definitely a lot better than we were like at the beginning of the season. And I was like, well, that's fair. Like I guess you are. You can't really get any worse. So
yeah. I mean, there really is nowhere to go but up from when you haven't won a game all season. So there's literally nowhere to go but up.
It's just ridiculous.
So 5-8-1. You lost. The Ravens let you down. They lost to the Dolphins. Saints lost to the Titans. The Bills. Oh wait a minute! I think I counted one of these wrong. Oh look at that! I did.
Yeah.
So that makes you 6-7-1. Okay, I counted one wrong. How did I do that?
Let's go.
I think I just wanted you to lose that one. I don't know why.
You can be a hero. America.
But the Bills. You won with the Bills. You picked the Jags over the Colts, or you picked the Colts. You picked the Jags. Yeah, you picked the Jags over the Colts. Colts won. The Buccaneers. That was a strange game. They came out so flat in that game, and so Tom Brady did like a 2 picks on back-to-back drives, I think. Oh. And so they lost to the Washington football team.
Wow. They lost. So is the Washington football team going to be called the Bucks now? That's what should happen if they ever beat anybody. They should absorb their name for that week and be like, no, out of disrespect, like you don't get another person's name unless you like win or beat us again. Like I don't know. That's how it should be.
Oh man, no, I think I'm trying to look back to last week and see how the former Redskins, formerly known as the Redskins, are doing. I think they've won more than one game recently.
I think they have. I think they've been doing okay, right? They haven't been like
amazing, so they got 2 wins in a row right now. That's the streak. They're on a streak right now. 2 wins in a row. I think you bet against them both times.
Well, whatever. It's fine.
Since you pointed out that they don't have an identity, I feel like they really turned this ship around. Yeah, they heard you talking.
Well, they were losing good for me for a while. But
They're losing
Anyways.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, nah, the Browns got blown out by the Patriots. They lost by like I want to say 30.
That's kind of surprising though, because the Patriots aren't that great this year.
Well, they've actually been winning the last few weeks. I think they won like the last 3 games or so, last 3 or 4 games. Honestly,
this is why I don't watch football. This is why I should watch football. Actually, all my predictions are like horrible.
I mean, that would have been a bad pick. Honestly, I probably would have picked Patriots just because they were at home. I think that game. But the Browns, I didn't think they would do that badly. I thought they would be like a lot closer game, maybe within a touchdown or a field goal. But Baker Mayfield played horrible that game. I'm not sure if he's injured or not, but I don't think he had over 100 passing yards. Yeah. Falcons destroyed the Cowboys, so that was your win for that one. That was a good call.
Thank you.
Panthers versus Cardinals. Panthers. I'm glad you bet against the Panthers. See, I think this is just how it works. If you bet against my Panthers, we're more likely than going to win. So
honestly, if I would have known, to be fair, if they would have had Cam Newton back, I would have picked the Panthers. Not even literally once I heard he was back, I was like, I bet they win. I was like, I bet they win. Because how are you gonna I didn't even know how much he was gonna play, but I was like, if he does play, they don't have any film on him from this year of how he's going to play with their new offense or anything. So I was like, he's just like a wild card. So I was like, I have this feeling like he would come back with a win versus like if he had been playing all season, So I don't know.
Eric's no football analyst, but he makes good points there.
Oh, thank you.
Next, Vikings versus Chargers. The Vikings won that game. So shootout. Seahawks versus Packers. Like you said, Aaron Rodgers played. Eric originally picked the Seahawks, but I gave him the caveat because we didn't know what the Aaron Rodgers situation was going to be like. So in the middle of the week, they did decide to let Aaron Rodgers play that game, and they did beat the Packers, or they beat the Seahawks. Now his caveats was if Aaron Rodgers played, he thought they were going to win. And then the Eagles versus Broncos. Eagles won that game. Chiefs versus Raiders. Surprisingly, Chiefs won that game. I didn't think they were going to win that game, but they won that game. And then the Rams lost to the 49ers.
They lost horrible, right?
Yeah, big upset to the 49ers, unfortunately.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah, 31-10. That was crazy. That was I think I'm reading your wife's comment. Eric's wife is commenting on our video.
I know.
So I don't know if you noticed, the Rams just picked up Odell Beckham Jr.
Yes, I heard about that. Did he play this last game?
Yeah. He played poorly though. He had like 2 catches for like 18 yards. I'm gonna say.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. A lot of people are wondering if that's the reason why they lost, is because he was on the team or whatever. But it was an interesting season in the NFL. But right now, your overall record is 35-39-1.
Well, that's not horrible.
Yeah, you get like 7 wins next week, maybe, and you can get back to 500. Yeah, you can get back to 500 at least.
Pump up those numbers. Those are rookie numbers. Haven't seen that movie, so it feels bad that I'm quoting it. But
I don't even know what movie you're talking about.
You don't know what movie that's from Wolf on Wall Street.
Oh wow,
Matthew McConaughey.
I watched that movie. Wolf on Wall Street.
One time, and you regretted it.
Well, I didn't regret it at the time, but now I regret it. Yeah.
That's funny.
All right. I think what I'm gonna start doing maybe next either next week.
You laughing at the comments?
Yeah. I think next week we might, because it sounds like you're starting to watch a little bit more football and get more involved in what's going on.
Does it? Because I was like wrong at the beginning.
Well, I don't. So this is what I'm looking at. Like a lot of the picks that you made were reasonable picks. You just kind of got shafted by like upsets and stuff like that. Like the Ravens versus Dolphins. No one's going to think the Dolphins are going to beat the Ravens. I don't know how they won that game, but the Ravens were just off, and so that's a good pick. Bills was a good pick. Steelers was a good pick. The Colts, you probably should pick the Colts, but the Buccaneers was a good pick. The Browns was an okay pick. Cowboys was a good pick. Cardinals was a good pick. Vikings was a good pick. Packers was a good pick. Eagles was a good pick. Chiefs was a good pick. And the Rams that was a good pick, but again,
Mhm.
it was an upset. So I think you made some pretty good picks, and I think you are starting to make more good picks. Based on especially last week. Last week you had a lot of good picks. They just got upset by a lot of teams that we weren't expecting. I think even the analysts were kind of like caught off guard by how well some of these teams did, like the Jets and the
Mhm.
Falcons last week, and the Jaguars, like teams that you would never think would win these games. So I think we
Mhm.
might have to start asking you for scores. So maybe we might do that next week.
Don't do that. Oh my gosh. I'm so bad at scores. I can usually pick who I think's gonna win or not. Hey, hold on just a second. My cat is doing something inappropriate. Hey, she's eating our Christmas tree. So someone's going in their room. Okay, I will be right back, fans. Give me just a second. I can keep talking though while you're
Yeah, well,
going through it.
what I was saying is, I think we might have to start doing scores just to make it just to add to entertainment value. While Eric doesn't know a ton about the current football, what's going on in the league currently. He does still pretty much know because they're just historically bad teams. I mean,
Mhm.
it is what it is. Like the Dolphins have always been typically has been historically bad. The Washington football team typically has been historically bad. Lions, the Jets, so some of these are going to be just like based on historical matchups that he can think of. I think it'd be a lot more entertaining if we start asking him what the scores are going to be, because that would it really get us into some more better territory of what he actually knows about football. Because just telling me a team's going to win doesn't really. You give us some cat cam.
For the fans out there,
I'm
she's in
put it
trouble.
front and center.
She's in trouble. Go into her room. She's she's eating our Christmas tree. So, anyways, I'm sorry everybody who is watching right now, but someone is interrupting our streams, and she has to be punished. So, but anyways, we could try scores. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not that great at scores.
That's
I'm
fine. That's fine. We'll see how this week goes, and then if next week if you made a bunch of reasonable picks, I might try to introduce some scoring into the equation.
All right, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes then.
All right.
So my picks for this week,
Yes, sir.
I'll pull them up on my end too, so I can at least kind of see. Week 10, right?
Week 11.
Week 11. Week 11?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Are you ready?
sure. I may have to change the description. I think I put week 10 in there, but that's fine. Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. First, we got Patriots versus Falcons.
Patriots versus Falcons. Let's go with the Falcons.
Falcons. Wow. Falcons in the upset.
Yeah, that's an upset. That's an upset.
You already said Falcons, so I can go and tell you. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Patriots. We just talked about this. The Patriots are doing really well right now.
Well, I'm gonna go with the Falcons.
Okay,
Call
Falcons.
upset.
Ravens versus Bears.
Ooh, let's go with the Ravens.
Why Ravens?
They lost last week, so I think I'm hoping they'll get their crap together. They're not the Lions where they just constantly lose and lose and lose and lose and lose and then tie and then lose. So, anyways,
Packers versus Vikings.
We're going with the Packers.
Yeah, you think Mr. A-Rod has something to prove?
I think so. Hey, that one's on my birthday, man.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
man.
I guess it is. I forgot my birthday's on a Sunday, so like all these are on my birthday.
Should I have been like, no, it's not?
Well, I just forgot that they were all like on my birthday all of a sudden. So, because I was like, oh, this Sunday, because I can't remember the last time my birthday was on a Sunday, so I was gonna be like shocked that all of these were, but it's because it's a Sunday. So, never mind.
All right, Colts versus Bills.
Colts versus Bills. Let's go with the Bills. Let's go with the Bills.
Why Bills?
I mean, is the Bills an upset? I feel like it is.
No.
Okay. Well, that's why, because I was thinking it wasn't an upset. So, I don't know.
All right, Lions versus the Browns.
Oh man,
I don't know. Last week.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say the Browns are gonna beat them.
Browns are going to beat them. Why Browns?
Because the Lions, even though the thing about the Lions is you always think they're getting better, but then they never they're still losing. So they're losing better, if that makes sense.
They're losing better.
They're like the loss isn't as bad as the last one, you know. So I just have a feeling they're probably gonna not do very good. I think they might win on Thanksgiving. When Thanksgiving comes around, they could only because they usually have a pretty high energy on Thanksgiving. But anyways, yeah.
Your wife is taunting you in the comments.
Well, this is why I'm. This is why I don't pay attention to the comments when.
um.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so Lions, real quick. What do you think needs to happen with those guys? You think you guys, I mean, obviously you guys are in line for the number one pick next year. It's not really any really good quarterbacks. What do you think you guys are gonna do? You think you guys are gonna try to go defense? I mean, where does the rebuild need to start? Because there's so much wrong with this team. It's like, where do we start here?
We need a quarterback for one.
Yeah.
The other thing is we just need to do this. Well, tied for first with a quarterback is the offensive line. Offensive line is horrible. Like I swear, I feel like our quarterback gets sacked all the time. And even if he's a bad quarterback, or even if he was a good quarterback, we wouldn't be able to see that because he's constantly being tackled 24/7. So, it's one of those things where I think I think that we just need probably that to be built up. Our defense does need help, but I think offense is the priority because we're not scoring points. Like that's really the issue is we just have a hard time scoring points. So I think which is kind of the opposite of the problem we used to have. We used to have I feel like we used to have a better because we had Calvin Johnson and then we had and Brandon Pettigrew and we had was it Eric Ebon was his name? He was another wide receiver. We had some decent talent, like Calvin Johnson obviously was the best that we had, but we had guys even on our tight ends and our other wide receiver, they were pretty decent. And then we had, Matthew Stafford is a great quarterback. So now it kind of seems like it's the opposite. Like I feel like whenever I watch, we're throwing a pick or our quarterback's getting sacked. I feel like every time whenever I can, because I live in Oklahoma, whenever I can catch a Lions game, I feel like our quarterback's just getting sacked. And he's getting sacked and he's getting sacked. And I'm just like over and over and over again. It's just crazy.
I'm not sure. Y'all head coach, I don't think he's new. I'm not sure how new he is.
I think he was there last year.
Do you think you need a new head coach? Do you think you need a new coordinator? Because I mean, part of that could be just you're drawing up plays that are just a little bit too long. Taking too long to develop.
Yeah, like possibly. Here's the thing: is that even when we were good, we were getting a new coach. It seemed like every few years. So I mean, I think that they just need to stop switching out coaches and allow. I think you got to let your coach be there 2 to 3 years. And they're not half the time. They don't even allow that. They're like, oh, losing season, you're out. I'm sure they'll get a new coach at the end of the season and they'll try something different. I wouldn't be surprised. And then they have to go get a no-name coach because nobody wants to coach the Lions. So, you're not going to have Bill Belichick come to the Lions. That's just not going to happen. So I don't know. I think offensive line is what really needs to change first. And then you go for the quarterback. But I mean, if you get the quarterback first, I mean, the thing was when Matthew Stafford was there early on, we had a crappy offensive line, but he was good enough to get the ball off in time. So, and he was kind of tall, so he could kind of hold his own. He was a bigger guy. So if he did get, usually if he did get tackled, he could handle it and take the hit. But a lot of people compared him to Roethlisberger at the Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, a lot of analysts are saying that there's not many good quarterbacks in this upcoming draft. So, do you really think you guys go quarterback and just because I mean, there's some years where it's you got an Andrew Luck or a Cam Newton coming into the draft, and you're like, obviously he's number one pick, but it seems like there's a lot of middling kind of they're okay, they're good enough kind of quarterbacks. Is that what you want, or would you rather wait before you can get a transcendent kind of quarterback?
waiting is something that franchise does not do, in my opinion. That's the other thing too, is they want quick success. It's they have the opposite problem of the Oklahoma City Thunder in my eyes, where Oklahoma City Thunder is like, we're gonna grow it, and
Grind it out, yeah.
the Lions is like, no, we were good in the 90s. We've been good like when we first started as a franchise. Like, we need talent and we need it now. And they're like, we got to get a good team. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like they kind of think that they're going to win the Super Bowl every year. And it's like you guys are going to need to build like 5 years to to actually go and get a Super Bowl. So that's, I mean, someone who could probably give you better analysis on the Lions is my uncle, because he's like, I think he actually does watch every game because has the ability to do that. But I don't. So otherwise, I would watch them more often. They're probably the only football team I'd watch, because it's one of those things where it's like, even though you're bad, you're still going to stick with them. You've already accepted that it sucks.
Yeah.
So you just kind of. But that's what I think, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because you guys are still in Aaron Rodgers' division, and it doesn't. I'm not. Well, I mean, no one else was. He was contemplating retiring at the beginning of the season. So if he does retire, that could really open the door for you guys to, maybe next year have a shot if you get a decent.
Hey, maybe we'll ask him to come throw a few for us. You never know. No, I mean, we've had, and the other thing too is we've had like decent quarterbacks go there before. We just still suck, usually because our line is bad. And a lot, to be honest, I don't think a lot of players want to stay in the city either. Like, I think because it's not really a safe city. It's also like, I think because it has a history of being a losing franchise, I think players don't really want to stay there. And so the Lions always play that hand of, no, you're going to stay here. And that's what ends up forcing those players into retirement, like Calvin Johnson, like a Barry Sanders. Whereas even though I know Calvin Johnson said it was his body, but I honestly believe if we wouldn't have held him so close, he could have played 1 or 2 more seasons elsewhere, and he would have been fine with it. So I mean, especially if he was with somebody who was just as good of a wide receiver, or was talented enough to where he's not going to get double and triple teamed all the time.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
exactly. Exactly. I agree.
That was the problem with him at the Lions, is like he was there, and like you brought up, like I think last week or 2 weeks ago, and we don't mean to talk about the Lions constantly every week, but like that was something you brought up was, like whenever he was playing there, he'd always get double and triple team, and that's just because we didn't have our other wide receiver. He was okay, like he could catch the ball, but he was nowhere near as talented as Calvin Johnson. So we're going to throw it to him all the time.
Yeah.
So if we would have just had somebody who was equally as impressive, like an Odell Beckham or something like that, if he went to a team that had that, then it probably would have done. He probably wouldn't have got hit as hard, and probably would have been fine. But
yeah, I mean, you can. It's kind of very similar to a running back, where you have to manage. You have to load manage how many runs you give them a game. You got to kind of switch in backs to like take some of the load, especially if you have a really good running back, kind of like what we're doing right now with Christian McCaffrey, because he's been injured so many times. They're trying to watch how many how many runs do we actually give him, how many throws do we actually throw his way, because the more hits you take, the more punishment your body takes, and the shorter your career gets. So if you have another person on the outside of your receiver group who's not, I'm not gonna say as talented, because Calvin Johnson, I don't think anyone was as talented as he was, but who's pretty talented, at least in their own right, where they can demand some of the coverage or some of the throws their way. You can kind of manage how many throws you have to throw to Calvin Johnson to kind of reduce the number of hits he takes. So I definitely agree with that point. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think I wonder if that happened to Aaron Rodgers too, as well. Sometimes I wonder if, or not Aaron Rodgers, Adrian Peterson. I wonder if that happened to him, because his career kind of, he had a very explosive career at first, and then it just kind of like
tapered off.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's what it was. Or
I mean, again, like we always say, Father Time is undefeated. He always catches you. Like, no one can outrun Father Time, no matter how fast you are, how explosive you are, how amazing you look, how many drugs you take. You can take all the testosterone and all the steroids you want to take. You will get caught by Father Time, and it'll be a harsher punishment for you trying to overly extend what shouldn't have been overly extended. So
for sure.
But anyway, let's move back to the picks. Washington versus the Panthers.
Oh, let's go with the Panthers.
Oh my
Let's go with the
gosh.
Panthers. You don't want
Are
me to
you
pick
sure?
the Panthers? You don't want me to pick the Panthers?
I am not, guys. I am not saying that I believe in any sort of what's the word? I don't believe in any sort of like, okay, if he picks the Panthers, we're for sure going to lose. I don't believe in that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if we look at the numbers, he has had a poor history of rooting for my team, and I think they've almost always lost. I think they only won one game this year when you picked us. So
I think you guys will win 2 in a row, and then I think it's going to be over.
oh gosh, wow. Okay, well, you're really rooting for us, aren't you?
I'm just saying, man. I think there's got to be some. It's going to be a nice story if Cam Newton comes back. He wins a game for you, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" And then literally he loses 3 games in a row, and then people are like, "Wait, maybe he's not as good as we thought." I just kind of see that happening in the news cycle, I guess. So
okay, well,
that's
see.
why
We'll see.
It might not. It might be a Cinderella story for you. It might be like, hey, he comes back, and our knight in shining armor, Cam Newton, like we're just so happy to have him back, and he does a great job, and then you guys go and win the Super Bowl. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, here's the thing, though. I don't think we need him to do a great job. And I was listening to someone earlier say this same sentiment. Someone who's on a Panthers podcast, basically. He was saying we don't really need, like at this stage of our offense, we don't need Cam Newton to be Superman. Like we don't need him to be Superman. He can be Clark Kent all he wants to. All we need is for someone to manage the game. We have an amazing defense. We have a talented cornerbacks. We have an amazing pass rush. Our linebacker core is really good.
You guys have always had a decent defense, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, but this year it's even better than it's been. I mean, 2015 was probably the best defense we've had in a while. This year, I think it is. I'm not gonna say it's comparable, but it's pretty close because our corners are so good. Our corners are so talented this year. And so we have a really good defense, and Christian McCaffrey as a running back. I mean, last game he had like over 200 total yards by himself, and he only played like half the game. So I was like, we have a solid running game too. All we need him to do is just manage the game. Just manage the game. We don't need you to do anything crazy, nothing spectacular. We don't need you to be Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. Just be Clark Kent in the suit, and just manage the game. Just manage the game, and don't force any turnovers. You don't force any turnovers. You put us in good positions. We kick field goals. We get touchdowns. We're good. We're good. So
well,
I can see us going further. Is what I'm saying. That's why I say all that. I can see us going further because I don't need him to be Superman. I don't need him to be.
You're so
the
hopeful.
Player on our team.
You're so hopeful and naive.
We'll see. I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong, but I don't see myself being wrong because I'm always right.
You haven't tasted defeat. Like real defeat. You haven't.
I'm sorry.
Suffered.
I'm not a Lions fan. I don't know. I don't know what you go through. You're right. Texans versus Titans.
Texans what was that?
Texans versus Titans.
Oh, Texans versus Titans.
Texans, yeah. Texans.
Let's go with the Texans.
Texans. Okay. Why Texans?
Because I've picked them almost, I think, probably every week. I don't think I've picked the Titans once. So I'm just gonna go with the Texans because they lost. What did they lose last week? I think they lost, right?
They probably did.
I thought they lost.
I don't think they played last week. They didn't play last week. They had a bye week.
Oh, well, the week before that, I think they lost. But
yeah, lost the week before that.
But sometimes it's a good sign if you come off a bye week. So, more rested.
I doubt it, but okay. 49ers versus Jags.
I thought that sounded stupid. It's fine.
Well, it's just the team they're going is the Titans are a really good team this year. They're probably the best in the AFC. So I don't see any way they beat the Titans at home.
Well, I didn't know that. So
49ers versus Jags.
Let's go. Let's see. Versus the Jags?
Yes, sir.
Are the Jags doing very good this year?
It's a great question.
Oh my gosh. Is Colin Kaepernick playing for the 49ers?
That's another great question.
I'm just kidding. Let's go Jags.
Really? Wow. Okay. My Jags.
I don't know. I'm just hoping for an upset, I guess. I thought I'd be right all these last weeks, and I was wrong. So I was like, you know what? Let's just see if everything doesn't go as planned this week.
Dolphins versus Jets.
I just feel like it's like a. Do you want a car wreck or a train wreck?
You can always bet on the tie. You can always bet on the tie.
Let's go Dolphins.
Dolphs. Okay. The Saints versus Eagles.
Let's go with the Eagles.
My Eagles.
I just have a good feeling.
I got a feeling.
I don't really have good reasons for these.
Bengals versus Raiders.
Let's go with them Raiders.
Raiders. Okay. Cowboys versus Chiefs.
Let's go with them boys.
Boys. Really? You gonna go over your with Pat Mahomes?
Yep. Because I think
he had a really good game last week. You know that, right?
He did, but the
he had
Cowboys
over 400 yards and I think he had like 3 touchdowns.
The Cowboys work best when everyone's against them. So I think I'm not lying either. I think they do their best work when everybody doubts them, and then when everybody is expecting them, it has high expectations of them. That's when they suck. So they lost. Didn't they lose last week?
Who, the Cowboys?
Mm-hmm.
No, they blew out the Falcons.
They blew out the Falcons. Well, yeah. I know they had a bad game. I think in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, so, that would be correct.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys beating the Chiefs.
Cardinals versus Seahawks.
Let's go Cardinals.
Cardinals. Why Cardinals?
They have a good record. Even though they got blown out by by your boys. So
Steelers versus Chargers.
Steelers.
Steelers? Why Steelers? It's because they tied against a very defensive minded team.
I don't know anything about the Chargers right now, other than the last time they were good, they were decent. They had Phillip Rivers, and I know that they are not doing that good anymore. So I'm going with the Steelers, based sheerly off of historical gameplay.
Okay, that's fair. Giants versus Bucks.
Bucks.
Why Bucks?
It's the Giants.
We'll see. I could see the Giants pulling off the upset in that one, only because, well, maybe not. I think because the Bucks last lost to the Redskins, or sorry, the formerly known as the Redskins last week.
Formerly known.
Yeah, and I think they come back a little angry, especially because Tom Brady didn't play very well, so I think he comes back a little angry, ready to tear somebody apart. But the Giants defense is pretty good. I think they might be a close game.
Hey, maybe this will be the week I get them all right.
I doubt it, but we'll see.
I don't know.
All right, and that is the end of Eric's picks. If you are a betting man, you've heard Eric take these guys because they are guaranteed.
Okay, you can do
that also, if you completely disagree with him because he picked against your team, let us know in the comments below.
Give us
a dislike on the video.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can't see how many we get now.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. So now I can actually guys, give us some dislikes. Only we can see them. So
we know what you're getting annoyed by. So, anyways, well, we're gonna try to move it right along. We're trying to make it a short one today, guys. So not gonna be our normal 2.5 hours, which I think we get a lot of enjoyment out of that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully our viewers do, but. Anyways, we're going to try to keep it short today, but feel free. Don't forget, I'm going to stop real fast to make sure you give us a like, comment, and subscribe on whatever you are on. So if you're on Facebook, make sure to follow us. If you're on Twitter, go ahead and follow us there as well. You can also, go to YouTube. That's kind of where we've been uploading a lot of different clips of videos lately. Jonathan's been working really hard on that. He's been doing a great job because my weak computer does not does not process it very well. So he's been doing a great job at setting those clips up. So if you guys want to see the show but see it in shorter clips, we got a bunch there. Anyways, and then we're still working on the podcast thing. I've ran into a couple of hiccups with that, but we're still working on that. So hopefully you can just listen to us audio only. But like Jonathan always says too, you can always just like, if you're listening to this, just set it down someplace, and while you're doing chores or working around the house, or just maybe you're driving around, and give us a listen. We'd appreciate it. So, and
Yeah.
we'd love to hear your voice too. So
yeah, absolutely, guys, and definitely a lot of people. If you're wondering how you can support us, we don't have a Patreon yet or anything like that. We're holding off on all that stuff because we really want to grow the channel first. We want to get a community together. So if you want to know the best way you can support us, it's not by giving money. It's by liking the videos. It's by subscribing. It's by watching our content, because it gets into the eyes of more people, and they can really kind of see if they like what we're doing here or not. So.
And we're also on Twitch. I always forget Twitch, but we are on Twitch as well. So just for those people, so there's lots of people out there who only like watching Twitch now. So I mean, that's fair. That's
a crazy world we live in. It really is.
It is. I mean, but it's
this is a form of entertainment now. Like you can just get on the internet and just start talking to your best friend, and that's people are entertained by that. It's like this is crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah, it is crazy like that for sure. We're gonna go ahead and move on to something that I really wanted to talk about, because I think we're both kind of excited about it. But Disney Plus Day was the other day. It's kind of like DC fandom, and you can even think of it kind of like Comic Con, where they usually like release videos and stuff. But Disney Plus Day, it was for all stuff that's on Disney Plus. We're gonna do a quick run through of that in a little bit. But before we do that, something that they introduced was the Moon Knight trailer. It's a teaser trailer, so I might watch when they get a real trailer that comes out. I might watch one more, and then I'll probably call it good. But so we might show one more on the channel. But this is just the teaser for the show. It's going to be a Disney Plus show, and I'm excited for it. It actually seems, I've only seen pictures and stuff, but it looks like it's going to be accurate. But we're going to go ahead and react to that first. So I'm going to go ahead and add it here. Jonathan, can you see that? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Let me go ahead and, all right, I'm going to get it started here, and then we'll have to comment. Guys, we may have to talk a little bit for the trailer, because we keep getting hit with copyright strikes whenever we do trailer reactions, and it's really annoying. So we may have to talk a little bit through it, but just bear with us. Because we don't want to get one of those, but we want you guys to be able to watch it with us too. But if you can't hear it fully, just make sure you watch it on your own. Just type in Moon Knight trailer on YouTube, and you'll find the video pretty easily. So, but we're going to get started right now. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Awesome. I was the best at what I did. I got in, got out. No one got hurt.
Is he like a mercenary or something?
Great question. That's a great question. I honestly don't know.
I don't either.
Until I discovered something I was never meant to see. That's when they came for me.
I didn't know he was in prison either.
No.
Or is he a prison guard?
For them.
I have no idea. I honestly don't really know much about his origin story.
I don't either. I don't know much about it either.
Like I've seen him mostly in like team ups and stuff like that, so I don't know much about the character itself.
Yeah.
Drug deal.
Oh,
was that Batman?
Kind of looked like him, right? Oh, blood!
There is more
bloody
than childish stories.
I wonder if it's going to be more adult. Oh, what?
Is that Hawkeye?
Yeah, man, that was Hawkeye.
I, the Moon's Knight of Vengeance, must carry out your luminous will. My God. And now, foul demon. Face the vengeance of the Moon Knight.
I like that.
Interesting.
I didn't like the music that much.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, guys, to our channel. Okay.
Anyway,
That's
I didn't like
interesting. That's interesting.
I didn't like the music that much. I wonder if that was the actual that was on a screen, I think Screen Riot or something. So I wonder if that was the actual music or if they changed the music.
Yeah, it wasn't super compelling. I didn't like. It wasn't. It's weird. Disney usually has pretty good trailers. That one didn't feel like. I wasn't like super like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? But maybe it's just because it's a teaser and not a real trailer. So maybe when the real
Yeah.
trailer comes out, I'll be a little bit more excited. But I
Yeah.
mean, I thought we were at least gonna see like at least one fight scene, like even if it was just like cut, fight, kind of
Yeah.
deal. But
I think they're filming it right now, so maybe that's why.
okay,
But I don't
okay,
but I don't know. But I will say I noticed from the scenes that they were showing, it seems more Daredevil, like
that's what I was gonna ask
darker
you.
in
Do you think we're
tone.
gonna get more Daredevil esque kind of
I don't
show?
know. This is on an unrelated note, and I don't want to go off the rails too much, but they have basically all but confirmed that Daredevil is going to be in the Spider-Man Far From
The
Home
film?
movie. Yeah.
Oh snap! Did I
Now
not know that?
they said it might be
I didn't
like
know that.
they said it might be like a cameo, like it might be something really short. It might even be like a blink and you'll miss it type of thing. But I don't know if you wanted to know that or not, so I'm sorry. But I've read some stuff, and apparently they have like photos of. I haven't looked for them online because in my head I just want to keep it a rumor for right now. But they said that they saw pictures of him, like there's pictures of him that were leaked online of him on set filming. So
Interesting.
of Charlie Cox. So
Interesting.
I would freaking love that if that was the case, because if you get rid of the story, that's fine. Like if you're like, I know we're here to talk about Moon Knight, but if you're like, hey, seasons 1 through 3 of Daredevil, don't even worry about watching them. I'm fine with that if you're gonna keep the characters. If that's the trade-off I have to keep the actors,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
fine. I'm fine with that. In my own little world, I can believe it's canon, right?
Well, it is though, right? Because like even in the Daredevil universe, they talk about the Avengers. Remember,
Yeah,
there's a
but
guy who's selling the Hulk stuff, and they're talking about the Battle of New York, and
yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be, but the thing is, they're wondering because it's on Netflix. They're wondering if they should just like forget about it because
oh my gosh, we're not gonna do like a parallel universe kind of deal, are we?
they might. I don't know, but I mean, I
Oh
don't think
gosh.
I would. Perfect world, I would like them to just bring it all in, right? I'd like them to just bring all of it in
Yeah.
and us keep it that way. But I don't think that's what's going to happen, unfortunately.
But
Just
Moon
because.
Knight.
But Moon Knight, just because last thing I'll say about it, just because a lot of people, I would say, if you're doing proportions of Marvel fans who have seen the Netflix shows versus haven't, I bet the group of have not seen the Netflix shows is bigger than have seen it. So I think that's why they're thinking
Which is
about
crazy
moving
because
on.
that's such a good show.
Oh yeah, it's a great
Like,
show.
why not watch it?
I think all of them are quality. All of them are
Yeah.
quality. Like, I mean, there's a couple seasons of certain shows I didn't like, but anyways, but Moon Knight, yeah, I think. I'm sorry, guys, my eyes are like super itchy right now. Anyways, I think Moon Knight looked really good. I thought it looked a whole lot more gritty, which I don't see how you can't do it that way with
Yeah.
Moon Knight. I feel like you kind of have to, right? I mean,
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be interesting because I'm getting a little tired of dark stuff.
mhm,
Not like gritty or anything like that, but like
mhm,
just specifically like watching dark TV. I'm getting kind of tired of it. Like just dark scenes and everything's
mhm,
black and I can barely see
mhm.
anything, and then some figures running around beating people up. I'm getting a little run out of that because I
I
feel like
would
we're
say
getting
in
a
the
lot of
overall,
that.
I would say in the overall spectrum of like superhero stuff, it's very overdone
Yeah,
because everyone's
yeah,
trying to be Batman.
yeah, yes. Why can't
Mhm.
we have original hero? Okay.
Well, what I don't like is how people take characters and they're like there's the only way people will relate to this character if he's like Batman. Like I like it's like that's not true. Like let
That's
Green Arrow
yeah,
let Green Arrow be Green Arrow, let Green Lantern be Green Lantern, let
yeah,
Flash be Flash. Like you don't have to make they all have storylines where sometimes it'll get darker, but that's made for that character to go through.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
not always
and they're handled in their specific character way. Like you don't
Mhm,
see if you read Green Arrow comics, you don't see Green Arrow be Batman like almost ever. He's like
mhm.
sneaky like Batman, but his personality is completely different. They're like
Yeah.
opposites of each other because he's a snarky
Mhm,
like
his humor,
backbiting. Yeah,
yeah, his humor is like more like the Flash, even I would
yeah,
say, right? Like,
yeah. But even I would say it's a little bit even more snarky. Like he's the guy who's like making fun of everybody because
mhm,
he's the only guy without powers. And he's like, oh, you guys have all this power, and I'm still like out here doing what I do, whatever. But
oh yeah,
it's just I when I was watching the Moon Knight trailer, that's what I was thinking was like more darkness. Like
mhm,
I want to see what's going on. Just make sure I can
mhm,
see what's going on
yeah.
because I did not like I did not like that about the Eternals movie.
I guess why it doesn't bother me is that I think the Marvel universe needs a little bit more of that realism. Because they're doing all this stuff where it's like they keep saying that this phase is going to be in the it's going to be even deeper into space, and I just don't really see myself wanting more of that. I see
Yeah,
myself wanting to feel because I my one of my favorite phases I would say of the Marvel universe is phase 1 because you relate to all the characters really easily.
hmm,
Um and it's harder for me to relate to the Eternals. It's harder for me to relate to um even Thor, like even Thor when he's like, like Thor Ragnarok where he's going to all these different places. And sometimes it's harder for me to relate to Guardians of the Galaxy too. Because they're out in outer space. It's hard for me to feel like for instance, I heard somebody say this on a podcast. You saw Eternals and you were like, wow, that makes like Falcon feel like what he does is really like in like worthless, like it doesn't matter.
yeah,
Like because there's these huge being, and so I kind of like that feeling of we're gonna put these other heroes in here, and this is what they're doing. And Moon Knight, if you're gonna be accurate, you have to be darker, you have to be a little bit grittier. And I've
yeah,
noticed Marvel's kind of tried to give us that a little bit with Black Widow. They gave us a little bit more darker stuff. With Eternals, they gave us a little bit more darker things as well. Like when I say darker, I just simply mean not for kids. Like I mean like more adult things. Like for instance, I don't even mean like nudity or sex or anything like that. I simply mean like they're showing a little bit more blood. They're showing a little bit more. The fight scenes are a little bit tighter and they're a little bit better.
graphic. Yeah,
You're actually seeing people get injured a little bit more. That kind of thing is what I would like more of in the Marvel universe, because there's times where it does feel like it's for kids or they're joking around and you're like, wait, that person like literally just got hurt. Why are they like up walking around? And so you'd like a little bit more realism. So I think Moon Knight, I was excited for that. I'm also excited because I mean, his character in the comics is supposed to be similar to Batman in the sense of his tone. His tone is supposed to be very much similar to that. So I think, I mean, like it or not, it's probably going to be a little bit Batman esque because that's kind of how his character is.
yeah,
I mean, he even has those Nightwing discs that he throws that are like they're like moons or whatever, and he like throws them out. But anyways, but yeah, last final thoughts on Moon Knight. What did you think?
I'm. We'll see. We'll see. Like you said, I just think, and maybe it's just a today thing. Maybe I'll watch the series and I love it, but I'm getting a little bit tired of the Batman theme running through
Hmm.
everything. But I, mean,
Hmm.
I do agree with you. Moon Knight's more of that kind of character in the Marvel universe, so it makes
Hmm.
sense for him to do that. But I would
Hmm.
just like that to be the bookend of it. I don't want anyone else trying to
Hmm.
be. No one else needs to pick up the mantle of Batman. He's in a DC universe, so let him stay here. He's one singular character. Nobody else is like him.
And there should be different layers of dark and gritty, right? It shouldn't always be Batman
Yeah, the
is
only version you can get of gritty.
like
Yeah, I agree
I
with that
think
too. Yeah,
I think Daredevil and Jessica Jones, I think those two shows like specifically do dark and gritty, but they don't do it in a Batman brooding kind of way.
yeah,
Daredevil has more similarities, but they focus it less about, I feel like with Daredevil, he's not always blaming himself for like loss all the time. He is sometimes because he's like, it's my city, but he's not like to Batman level where like I literally have a sidekick and I'm worried about them dying
yeah,
and all that kind of thing. And he doesn't have a Daredevil mobile and he doesn't have all these different things. So that's you can do different tones of gritty. There's different ways to do it because every character is a little bit different. And Jessica Jones was even more like this is real life because we're gonna deal with possibly like rape and we're gonna deal with all these different undertones. The other thing that I'm kind of excited for about Moon Knight specifically is I'm really excited about his different abilities and powers coming out, because for those people who don't know, Moon Knight is essentially, he has like, I think three or four personalities inside of him, because essentially his origin, I don't know all of it, like I don't know where he's from, and I think he's a mercenary, but I could be wrong. But essentially he unleashes like an Egyptian god, and what ends up happening is he, if you know who Dr. Fate is from DC, it's kind of like that, but he basically gets he gets that Egyptian god's like spirit, or he gets possessed by it, but then he ends up having multiple personality disorders. So he has like four different personalities that live within him that he's kind of having to deal with. And I want to say one of them, prefers killing and prefers destruction, and one of them prefers doing something that's good, um everything like that. So I that's kind of what I'm looking forward to in the Marvel show a little bit. So anyways, I don't know if you caught any of that, Jonathan, but I was going through how Moon Knight has different personalities. Do you
Yeah,
know that about him? So I think that that's something that might be interesting to play out too, but it definitely needs to be more serious. I'm not saying it can't have comedy every once in a while, but it needs to be more serious of a show. It shouldn't be just like, Moon Knight shouldn't be hopping along rooftops like giggling all the time.
yeah. I will say
You know?
I will give Marvel credit for this. They have done well with when they do have these characters. They're not. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like DC's version of like how they're always trying to do Batman. You can tell
Yeah.
these characters do seem distinct, even within
Hmm.
the Netflix universe, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. These characters do kind of feel distinctly different with the way they approach things. In some movies,
Hmm.
you kind of feel like they are all like the comedy relief, but mostly for the most part, you can tell like they're distinct personalities at least.
Hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. You can, I would definitely agree. You can see that from a lot of the shows and the movies
Yeah.
that they've been putting out. So, but anyways, I'm excited for that. I'm also really excited for the Hawkeye show next week. It comes out next week, man. So,
Hey.
I'm pretty pumped for that. They also released like a scene or an extended trailer.
They're doing like one episode a week, or is that what they're doing?
They're doing two next week, and then they're doing one a week. But I think
Okay,
it's short though. It's not like it's like 18 episodes long. It's like 7, I
that's
think.
what I would really like more episodes. I know
I
I'm
know.
asking for a lot, but like I think 8 is too small. I think if you're gonna do
Mhm.
a season, it should at least be 12 episodes, at least 12.
I would agree. I would agree with that. 12. You would think a minimum of 10.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know. But yeah, it's hard. I think the problem is, I think it's probably. I wonder if it's a money thing. You
Like
know.
they just ran out of money.
No,
I'd be surprised.
not running out of money necessarily, but like they're putting the production value so high. You know what I mean? For each episode, I wonder if they're just like, we have to budget it and cut it off somewhere. Not
Okay.
that they couldn't do it, but I wonder if that would be their excuse. Is
I mean,
like,
that makes sense. I would prefer lower quality production then.
yeah,
If you can give me more, I'm just saying
more
like
story. Yeah.
yeah, I would like more story. I think you can. I
Hmm.
think these, even the ones that they've done so far, I think you could have fleshed out the characters or the story
Hmm.
even better. Like with Winter Soldier, the villain didn't really get much of a. We didn't really get to understand the villain. I mean, I thought it
Hmm.
was a bad villain in the first place, but
Hmm.
I think if you would have fleshed more out their cause of what they were
Hmm.
doing, maybe giving them an episode of
Hmm.
doing different things, of showing either their villainy or their heroics, what they were actually trying to do. I think that would
Yeah.
have helped their case more with not being a forgettable Marvel villain.
Yeah, I would agree. And there's lots of people who are saying, well, I don't want to get into a different conversation, but there's a lot of people who are saying that the the Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that Marvel's kind of doing something that started in that, with a trend of like, there's not really always a villain. It's kind of this gray area of people do bad things and some people do good things, and it's kind of, which I don't really like that as much. I mean, it's not as fun of a story, right? Like, it's kind of like, it is okay every once in a while
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it
yeah,
reflects humanity in that way, but it's not as enjoyable as, this is the bad guy. Like, it's an archetype for a reason of
yeah.
good versus evil. there's a reason why it's so successful in Lord of the Rings and in superhero books and
Yeah,
and
I mean,
movies.
majority in superhero books. It's like the whole focus of superhero books is tackling the good versus evil commentary.
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard to say that like you shouldn't do that, but I kind of hope Marvel doesn't, because they kind of did that in Eternals too, right? There wasn't necessarily a villain.
Yeah,
It was like this
it's
gray
kind of gray.
area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same
So
thing in
I'm.
Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi was kind of the same
Yep.
until the very end when they busted
Mhm.
out Satan. I guess I don't know. They were like, yeah, it's not really a villain. The guy,
Mhm.
his dad's just misunderstood. And,
Mhm. And you could arguably say in Eternals, I mean, some people say it worked in Falcon and the Winter Soldier because it was tackling social issues as well.
mhm.
But you could argue on Shang-Chi and for the Eternals that was where the movie kind of fell flat. Was the villain was kind of non-existent, or was kind of, it was difficult for it to be found, or it came up at the very last second, right?
Yeah,
So anyways, but I hope they don't start doing that, but we'll kind of see how it goes.
yeah. I definitely. Last thing I want to say on this, I
Mhm.
think I really like evil versus good, and like, but
Mhm.
I can understand why it's tough for them because traditional evil
Mhm.
isn't culturally viewed as that anymore. Like the traditional, like
Mhm.
the bad guy wants to take over America. Well, if you think America is rotten to the core and America needs to be overthrown, then
Mhm.
that's not really evil anymore. Or
Mhm.
this person has certain viewpoints that they think should dominate the political sphere or the
Mhm.
world at large. If you don't think that's evil anymore, then it's kind of hard to say what we
Mhm.
traditionally have believed to be culturally evil is evil
Mhm.
anymore. So I can understand why it's tough for them to make a villain without stepping on too many toes that would make their
Mhm.
movie, kind of get
Yeah.
trashed
I
by the
mean,
people.
cultural viewpoint, or I guess you could say the cultural lines of morality, has really been blurred in the
Yeah,
last 2 to 3 decades. It's just kind of like, well, you can't say that because it might hurt some, like even the Mandarin, right?
yeah,
Even if you would say that he chose that name, I think the reason Marvel chose not to use it is because they were like, well, somebody might take it as it's racist.
yeah,
And it's like, well, I think if I don't know, that's the character that was written, and I don't believe it was written as a racist tone, in my opinion. So it's like, maybe that's why they're thinking, well, somebody might take offense to it, so we're not even going to have a Chinese dictator anymore. So it's,
yeah.
it's it's a little blurred, but anyways, I don't think it makes for that great of a movie, though.
Agreed.
I think that'll, we'll probably end up seeing that in the future. At least I hope. Hopefully they'll learn from their mistakes. But anyways, we're gonna move on because we could talk about that topic for a while. So the next thing, second to last, we're gonna talk about real fast is Disney Day announcements. So Jonathan, I just want to get your reaction a little bit on some of these. I'm gonna pull these up, and I kind of shrunk the page down just a hair because I wanted to be able. So if you can't see it, let me know. Um, this is just an IGN article. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, is that too small?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So there's a couple different things that they covered. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, I know you're not like a huge Star Wars fan, but you're semi interested. Apparently they're saying that's gonna
I
be.
wouldn't say I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I've seen all the movies and I've seen all of them like more than once. And
Yeah, but you're not
and
like
the original 6 I've seen probably like 4 or 5 times.
yeah, but in this day and age, all I have to say is I've watched The Mandalorian, and they're gonna think that I'm a bigger Star Wars fan than you.
That's dumb because I've seen the animated series
Sorry.
as well. So like I've the amount of Star Wars I've watched all the Family Guy Star Wars as well. Like the amount of Star Wars that I've watched, I've read the comic books and the books. Like
Ah.
the amount of Star Wars that I've seen is insane. The fact that you
But you
watch a
won't
bunch
watch
of
you won't watch The Mandalorian though. That's the problem, man. You got to get on the Mandalorian verse.
that's like saying I grew up watching Jordan my entire life, but you went and watched The Last Dance, and now you're a better Jordan fan than me. It's like that's insane. That is insane.
That's
Just because I haven't
exactly
seen The Last Dance,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
oh, you
Actually,
must like LeBron. It's like what? No, I just haven't finished it yet. There's a lot to watch.
I'm sure you love LeBron. I'm sure you love LeBron. Anyway, so I'm a little excited for the show.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Jonathan's Jonathan's right. I have not seen. I have not seen. I've seen the original trilogy, so I think you can say that I'm a Star Wars, I don't know, person. I guess I obviously like it if I watched the original trilogy and was interested in Mandalorian, right? So I've watched that, and I've watched The Phantom Menace. I have not seen episode 2 or 3. And then I haven't seen any of the new movies. So the new trilogy and Rogue One I have not seen. Which I'm thinking about. I should watch episode 2 and 3 and then watch Rogue One and then watch the other ones because I think that would be more
It
interesting.
doesn't really matter at this point. I will say this: I wouldn't like the reason why I don't super disagree with you that I'm not a Star Wars person is because I don't really enjoy the newer stuff. Like I've seen all the new stuff. I've seen I've seen all the newest Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Rogue One. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
I've seen all the offshoots, and
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been super impressed with any of them. And so I'm excited for Obi-Wan Kenobi because I loved Obi-Wan as a character. So hopefully they
And it's
can
the
give us.
same actors, man. So
Well,
I
they're all
mean,
old now, so I don't know that that's super appealing to me.
no, I actually think the guy who plays Obi-Wan will do a good job. Ewan McGregor, I think he'll do a good job. I mean, he's gonna look like he did in episode 3. He's gonna have the beard, right, and he's gonna have the long hair, so he's not gonna look that different, I'd imagine. You know,
See,
he's look older in the eyes, but that would be
but
about
this is
it.
the difference between me and Star Wars fans, right? Because like real Star Wars fans, the people who like have the collectibles and who like religiously watch all the Star Wars every year and like are
Mhm.
still in support of Star Wars, even though Disney has completely destroyed
Mhm.
whatever would constitute
Mhm.
a consistent storyline.
Mhm.
I just don't really care about the older people. Like you're old
Mhm.
now and it doesn't look good. Like when we brought back Luke Skywalker, I was like, ugh, he looks so old and looks so frail. Like I'm not convinced he's the same person. I don't know. And
Mhm.
I like his sister. I'm like, okay, I'm glad she's dead. Like I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm kind of done with that. I like that they brought them back
Mhm.
to kill
Do you
them.
like the
But
Clone Wars?
which time the animated Clone Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, like,
Oh, okay. Well, then you might not like. I don't know. You might not
is
like new
this
Star Wars then.
animated? This is not animated, right? This is like
No,
live
no,
action.
this is live action. It's gonna have
Okay.
Hayden Christensen in it as we think Darth Vader. So we think Darth Vader is gonna be heavily involved, apparently. I probably need to get moving through this,
Okay, go ahead.
but anyways, I will say this, man. I think I am not like the biggest Star Wars fan, and I personally loved The Mandalorian. Thought it was great, and I'm about to just like forget my wife. She said she was gonna watch season 2 with me, and I asked her one time to watch it. She was like, no, and then she was like, well, you can watch it without me, and then I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that, and that was like 6 or 7 months ago. So I think I'm just gonna watch it without her because like I'm season 3 is gonna come out, and I haven't even watched season 2 yet.
That's fair.
Um,
I mean, me and my wife are looking for something new to watch, so I'll probably see if she
you
wants to
you
watch The
gotta
Mandalorian.
you honestly have to get through like the first two, just get through the first 2 episodes, and I promise you it picks up. It does a really good job after that.
The only reason why I've ever liked Star Wars is because of lightsabers. Like that's the only reason why. The lightsabers and the force powers.
Mhm.
I don't like the politics. I don't like the space stuff. I do not like any of the
Pew pew.
droids and the pew pew. Yeah, I don't like none of that. The only thing I ever actually liked was the lightsabers. That's the only thing I
So
like.
you're
So you
so
give me
you're
anything but that, I don't like it. I don't want it.
so
Like I
you're
don't want to
not a
watch it.
Star Wars fan. You're a lightsaber fan. That's what you are, Jonathan.
Whatever. I don't
You're a
care.
lightsaber
I don't
fan.
care. I don't care. I played all the video games. I've read the books. I've read the comics. I've done all the Star Wars stuff. But apparently, I'm not a Star
Hey,
Wars
I mean,
fan unless I
I
watch
don't
every
think
aspect.
I don't think you can say you've never liked it if there was. You liked Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront. Remember we used to play that all the time, and it was just
Yeah.
guns.
Well, that felt more like Call of Duty than it felt like Star Wars. To
It
me,
was
at least.
Call of Duty with Star Wars skin. Essentially,
Yeah,
is what it was.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Someone just
but
skinned over it with Star Wars stuff.
well, man, give it an honest shot. Like honestly, just watch season 1, and if you don't like it, if you don't like it after season 1, then you just don't like the show, and that's fine. But from what I've I watch a lot of podcasts and stuff. So from what I've seen, I would say you're not alone with most Star Wars fans hating the new trilogy. I don't know a lot of Star Wars fans who are just like, the new trilogy was so good. I think most people, even if they don't hate it, they think it's the worst of all of all. They're like, no, those 3 are the. I know people who like the Han Solo movie more than they like the new trilogy. Like I know lots of people who do because they think no, that's not the Skywalker saga. They did Luke Skywalker wrong, and I can't hide from all the information on the internet. It gets thrown in my face by different from different comic book sources that I watch and stuff. So
Yeah.
like they'll always talk about Star Wars, and so I've read some of those articles, and I can understand why they think that they did Luke Skywalker dirty. So I haven't even watched the movies, and I'm like, I get it. Like I would probably be mad too if I was a huge fan. But I want to get more into Star Wars, but I don't feel like I can unless I watch all the movies. So I need to watch the movies, which that takes time. So
takes time, yeah.
so that's really why I haven't. But I loved Mandalorian season 1, and I watched that before I had ever seen any Star Wars movie, and I enjoyed it. So I think you might like it, but watch season 1. If you don't like it, then you just won't like it, and that's fair. You at least gave it a good try. But anyways, I'm gonna move on from there. But the reason last thing, the reason I say that about the Mandalorian is because that seems to be the universe they're building off of for a lot of the Disney Plus shows. So it seems like they're gonna start building more and more off of that Mandalorian universe.
Is that why you're wearing that shirt?
Oh yeah, because I love the Mandalorian, man. I got it. It's a Pop Funko shirt of the Mandalorian. I forgot I was wearing it. But I didn't even know we were going to talk about it today, to be honest, because I talked about the Disney Plus stuff later. So then they, anyways, besides Obi-Wan, they only gave a little bit. There wasn't very much Star Wars stuff they talked about. They released a bunch of stuff on Disney Plus.
Are you going to watch Olaf Presents? I thought about that. I would like to watch it just if it's going to be funny. Like if it's going to be funny, I would like to watch it. I think
I might watch it. Sure. Like I mean, I watched the Monsters, whatever it was, Monsters Not University, like the Monsters Inc. continuation. I watched that and I loved it. So I don't see why not. They're also on here. They're doing a Baymax show, bro. I'm down for a Baymax show.
Baymax.
Mm-hmm. Big Hero 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're doing like a animated show of him.
I was wondering why they didn't do a sequel to that movie. That was such a good.
I know they did a cartoon show on like Disney XD, but I never watched it.
She-Hulk, that's what it was. That's all. There was a TV trailer for that, right?
A little bit of one. It's pretty small, but yeah. And we didn't talk about it, but yeah, they did do one, and they didn't show her at all. They like show her legs and her shoes, and that looks pretty comic book accurate. And then Mark Ruffalo's in it for a little bit. But yeah, they got Are you excited for the She-Hulk? I didn't think you were.
Yeah, man, I love She-Hulk. I love me some She-Hulk.
You're just one of those creepy guys. Creepy guys who like flip through it for the pictures, weren't you? You're like, oh, She-Hulk, yeah.
No, she's like the one woman that I'm like, I like a buff She-Hulk. I like a ripped She-Hulk. You know, we talked about Wonder Woman a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I don't like a buff superhero woman, but I think she's the only exception to that rule. Okay, guys, there's always an exception to the rule. She's the one exception to the rule. I like a buff, like a cut, like
I didn't know you liked She-Hulk that much. I think I actually thought you would roll your eyes at it.
No, man. I'm down with the She-Hulk. Like I loved her in the comics. She was one of my favorite like female characters in the comics. Actually, I think I read a couple of her solo books as well.
Really?
But I bought got to her when really reading through the Civil Wars when I really liked her character a lot.
I bought my wife a graphic novel collection of them for her on Comic Book Day. She hasn't read it yet, but I think she's an interesting character. I think she obviously has a lot of, I was listening to another podcast today and I kind of agreed with them. I would still prefer, like, if I had to pick between traditional, like, Incredible Hulk versus She-Hulk, I would take Bruce Banner Hulk all day, but the MCU is obviously not going to give us that. Like, they're not going to give us like the true Planet Hulk story. Where he's like literally like a gladiator, and they're just not going to give us that. They're not going to give us World War Hulk where he comes back, and like people would love to see that, right? Like, and if I had to pick, would you want that or a She-Hulk show? I would want that.
I don't know, man. That'd be a toss up for me.
Really? You're that big of a fan?
I like She-Hulk, man. I like She-Hulk. And I love lawyer stuff. Like any kind of lawyer stuff. I love lawyer stuff. I realized that this weekend. I was like, man, I really like lawyer stuff.
Well, this is going to be a comedy, just so you know.
So, like, for instance, like all the lawyer stuff on Daredevil, that was amazing
Mhm.
stuff to me. I loved every episode that they had like a lawyer scene where
I
he was
did
like
like that.
actually practicing law.
I would agree. Yeah, I did like that.
Great stuff.
Well, here we'll move on real fast. Well, we'll have to explore your weird affinity for She-Hulk later. They're doing an Agatha show. It's called
Weird.
Agatha House of Harkness from WandaVision.
So that's what I roll my eyes at. That to me, I roll my eyes at. Like, I really don't care about it.
Yeah, I don't need it. We are getting a cool animated series. I'm excited for it. It's going to be like in comic book style too. It's of Spider-Man. It's going to be called Spider-Man Freshman Year, and it's in the MCU, and it follows Peter Parker on his way to becoming Spider-Man. So it's an origin. It's an
Cool.
animated origin show of Spider-Man becoming Spider-Man in the
Dang,
MCU.
it's like what's that girl's name in the DC that got her little animated shorts?
Oh, Squirrel Girl.
No,
Oh.
Squirrel Girl. She's in the Marvel. I'm talking about in
my
DC.
bad.
In
Yeah,
DC,
that's weird.
she had the guys. I'm not doing well today. I don't know what's happening to me, but I'm like forgetting everything. I forgot who Samuel Jackson was earlier today.
He did. I was made me laugh.
I was like the guy who's like, "What's in your wallet?" That's the only thing I can remember him from. For some reason. No,
Lawrence Fishburne.
no, the other one, the other black,
other black guy. What's in your wallet, guy?
I'm the what's in your wallet guy. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Just ignore me. Ignore me.
Anyways,
Vixen. That's what I was thinking.
Vixen, yeah, but I think it's going to be probably more episodes. They also said that it's supposed to be, I guess, in the classic like Steve Ditko style, like of the early comics. So it's supposed to be like actual 2D animation. It's not going to be like a weird 3D animated Spider-Man cartoon. Like it's going to be like almost kind of like you're reading it from a comic book.
Okay.
It's rumored though, so I don't know how that's going to look. I don't know. But either way, I'm excited to see that.
All right.
They're going to do a Marvel Zombies animated show.
Roll my eyes. Don't really.
You didn't like the Marvel Zombies episode?
Not really. I'm done with zombies. That was like a stage in my life, and I've moved past it. I don't really care about zombies anymore.
All right. Well, for everybody who like actually cares about it, I'm excited for it. So I will definitely be watching it because I didn't get sucked in to the whole vampire zombies era. Okay, I didn't do that. So I can naturally be excited for it. I am Jonathan's better. Then we got a glimpse of yawn. I think it's a yawn. Samuel L. Jackson as Patchless Nick Fury, like in Secret Invasion, because they're not gonna do actual Secret Invasion, so I could care less. This is interesting though. They're bringing Jonathan. Did you ever watch the X-Men Marvel show, like in '97?
Yeah,
they're bringing it back.
Like, so this is a question I had, and I didn't look it up. I probably should have. But are they doing the same animation style, or are they just basically like re-releasing the old episodes?
No, like to my knowledge, it's a continuation. It's the same episode style. It's the same voice actors. It's everything. Like they're continuing it. So if you liked the old X-Men show, it's supposed to be exactly the same.
Okay.
I mean, the animation's probably going to be better, obviously, right? Like they're not going to use 1990s technology to create it. It'll probably be better. But
why? Why bring it back?
Because people want it.
No,
you shouldn't want it.
You're
such a downer.
It was over when it was over. Okay, let's do something new now. Let's do something more creative than we did in 1997.
You're such a downer, man. What would you do? What would you do?
I would get a new cast of characters. Maybe do like and I just forgot their name. I just had it on the tip of my tongue.
And take the chance of people saying, "Boo, we hate it."
Yes. Like life is about risk. You take chances. That's how you get really, really good stuff. Like the first Iron Man movie was a creative risk that they took.
That's not how you make money.
Risk.
It's not how you make money. Okay.
No, what you do is you go, remember the X-Men from 1997? You liked that show, didn't you? Remember them? We're gonna bring them back for you. You remember that? Remember that?
People love that. And people love that. I never watched the show though. So
I don't like member berries. I like them in small, short doses. I don't like them splattered over my front TV.
Well, I think it'll probably do good.
give me like a new age X-Men, like just like not even the same cast of characters. I don't want Cyclops anymore. Or maybe give me an older Cyclops, but like give me a new cast of characters who I've never met before and introduce me to those people and tell me about their struggles.
I think it would make more sense if it was unfinished, but to my knowledge, it wasn't unfinished, right?
That's what I thought it was finished. It was why I was wondering: are they doing a new X-Men, or are they bringing just like redoing the old episodes? I don't know.
It's supposed to be a continuation, so it's just supposed to be. I mean, to be honest, though, Jonathan, they'll probably bring in new X-Men. It's probably gonna be like what DC does with Injustice. Like they created a bunch of new characters, and so it may actually be what you want. It just may not. It'll just be in the continuity of X-Men 97. But who am I to tell you what you want? I don't know.
Nobody, I see. I'm just kidding.
There's a She-Hulk logo, Miss Marvel, Echo. They're doing an Echo show, by the way. Which is more speculation that they're going to bring in Daredevil. I'm hoping, but she's apparently going to be in. Echo's going to be in the what's it called? The Nightwing or not Nightwing? Now I'm doing it. The Hawkeye show. The Hawkeye show. But yeah, they're going to be doing a Baymax show, summer 2022. So that's cool. And then X-Men 97, an all new original series, which it's being revived in 2023 as X-Men 97. It will pick up where the original series left off, and many of the same voice actors will return their roles. So the same guy who did Wolverine, Rogue, Beast, and etc. So they did this funny meme. Then they're doing a Cars show that's kind of like do you like Cars? I actually don't know if you like Cars or not.
I like the first one. The second one was kind of ugh, and the third one was like ugh.
I don't remember the third one. I don't remember the third one, but they're doing. Apparently, it's going to be the same voice acting, and it's just kind of like probably like the Monsters Inc. thing, where it's like a continuation. And I mean, honestly, though, that's what people buy Disney Plus for. Is they want more of those characters and more of that. So
guys, stop that! Look, I'm looking directly at you. Stop that! You don't want the same characters. Force these people to do something creatively new and take a risk, please. Golly gee.
Well, then they should just not use the Daredevil or anything, right? Right? They shouldn't use any of those. They should just
No. Yes, you're right. Don't do that. Don't do Daredevil. I don't want to see Daredevil. I want to see something new, something that hasn't been done before. Take a risk, okay? Don't rehash things that I've seen before.
He wants to see Squirrel Girl. That's what he's saying.
No, I don't want Squirrel Girl.
She's new.
They took a risk. They took a risk on Squirrel Girl, and it worked for a niche set of people. That's great for them. I just want something new. I don't want old things repackaged to me. I'm tired of it. I'm really tired of it. Look, now we get the Princess and the Frog repackaged. Here we go. Because everyone loves Princess and the Frog. That was
you're such a grump, man. Gosh, just get off my lawn. Bring me something creative. I don't. They're like, look what I made for you, Grandpa Collins. And you're like, no,
you gave me ties 2 years in a row. Do something different, please.
I've seen that before. Johnny made the same thing in the same class. It's not good. Zootopia.
Okay,
show.
Maybe.
No, you don't like it, Jonathan.
There are exceptions to the rule.
No, there's not.
There are. There are definitely exceptions to the rule.
They're doing a Predator prequel called Prey on Hulu. I didn't know about that.
Don't really care about Predator.
I know. I don't either. Andy Samberg's doing Chippendale Rescue Rangers, which is something I used to watch as a kid, but that's fine. I don't think you care about Chippendale, so.
No.
Hocus Pocus 2. So there's that. Live action Pinocchio, which is going to have Tom Hanks in it, and Keegan-Michael Key.
Hey,
so
okay.
I knew you'd at least like that. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I like. They're doing a Ice Age. So this is kind of interesting from a business standpoint. Disney is doing an Ice Age series, but they're doing the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild and the Return of Simon Pegg. So they're doing a Ice Age show, I guess, but it's not going to be done by Fox, right? So it's going to be Disney Animation who's doing it, which I find that kind of interesting. Like, because they got bought out. It used to be a company called Blue Sky. What?
Cheaper by the Dozen's a reboot? Oh man, really?
You don't like Cheaper by the Dozen? It's old. It's new.
Gabrielle Union? What?
It's not.
It's
It's
Cheaper
not.
by the Dozens?
I want you
Why?
to see, everyone, how flimsy Jonathan is. It's when he just give him something that he actually wants, and then he's happy, and then he's back on the nostalgia circus all over again.
I
See, look
said
at
I
him.
like it in small doses.
No. Look at him. Look at him.
No,
He's
stop
a liar.
trying to be an all or
He's
nothing guy. You're trying to be an all or nothing guy, and I'm not that kind of guy. I'm nuanced, okay? I'm nuanced.
You're not that
different. Be nuanced.
You're not that different, Jonathan. You just didn't get enough hugs as a child. Okay, that's all. That's all it is. I'm actually excited about this because I love Amy Adams, but Disenchanted. It's going to be a sequel to Enchanted, but it's coming out next year. It's got Patrick Dempsey in it. So for those people who like that, Zach, he's the guy from that medical show. You know what I'm talking about? Scrubs. He's from Scrubs.
I'm not.
I didn't know.
Gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it.
I didn't know you liked Cheaper by the Dozen that much, man.
Oh, I love Cheaper by the Dozens. That was like basically our family in a nutshell. Like when we watched those movies as a family. Like we watched that Cheaper by Dozens and 1 and 2, like several, like we had it on DVD. Like that was our movie. Because it was basically I mean, I grew up in a huge family. I grew up in a family of not huge, okay, but I grew up in a family of 8, which is more than most people do. And so it was very telling of what our family dynamic was like. So I love that movie.
So just to prod you one more time. So you only like things that have to do with your childhood and not somebody else's.
No, X-Men 97 was my childhood.
No,
okay?
It's not though. You didn't watch it with your family.
Teen Titans was my childhood. And they came out with Teen Titans Go. Like this is my childhood too. I'm just saying I can be nuanced on the subject too, where I like some things. I'm not saying every reboot is bad. I'm just saying I think you should stop doing them. And just
what does nuanced mean, Jonathan?
It means that the situation is a lot more fluid than just a yes or a no.
No,
it's a little gray. Yes, it does.
No, that's what you want it to mean. Okay, I'm done. I'm so stop. Something I don't know. I have mixed feelings about. They're doing a Proud Family continuation.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched the trailer and it's definitely more adult.
Man, look, you're not tired of this. Look at this. Before you know it, they're gonna bring back Corey in the house, and he's gonna be like 40 years old, still living with his dad. Like, do you want Corey in the house to come back?
Yeah,
don't you want to remember him as he was? Okay? Not a newer Corey in the house.
I want to see.
Do you really want Fuller House?
I want to see Corey with Donald Trump. Okay, that's what I want to see.
That would sell so many. That would be the highest selling TV show of all time. If you got Corey in the house.
Hey Corey, that's good. So, what do you think about this wall that I'm building? And then Corey's just like, he's like, well, I think it would save the country a whole lot of money. And then, then he learns later, Disney would spin it so that he learns later that he's hurting
Hispanic peoples.
Yeah, who's trying to come into the country, and he's like, Mr. President, I don't think we should do it. And he's like, we're gonna do it anyway because I said so. Like, because because I'm the president, not you. I don't get my advice from a child. Anyways, they put the trailer up, and I watched it, I guess, before I realized it was announced for Disney Plus Day. And there's like references to her parents having sex and like all different kinds of stuff. Like, it was kind of cringy a little bit. It was a little cringe. I was like, I don't want this much adult with my Proud Family. Like, it's okay.
Like, why can't we get, and this is the thing I'm talking about, why can't we get an original new Black animated TV show? Why do you have to reboot something that was like from 2000s? Like,
yeah,
give us something new, a new cast of characters, a new experience.
I know a lot of people, to be honest, who think that the Proud Family ended too early. So I'm wondering if that's why they did it.
Absolutely.
I loved the Proud Family growing up. I watched it all the time. Like, I watched it with my cousins. Like, I loved that show. Oscar was hilarious. So I mean, I liked the show. I liked Penny a lot. I liked all the characters pretty much. Dejanay was great.
It's just that the problem I have is I know they're gonna take these characters that we've loved and liked for so many years, and they're gonna twist them in front of our faces, and it's gonna be so obnoxiously stupid.
What do you think about, like, what's your opinion? We don't really have time to talk about this, but what's your opinion on repurposing characters for a different audience? So like there's sometimes where they'll do a show, and like for instance they did this with DuckTales. All right, so I don't know if you ever watched DuckTales as a kid, but there's a classic DuckTales which was like in the 90s I think, and then they made a new version of DuckTales, but it wasn't for like people our age. Like we could watch it obviously, but it was made for kids. Whereas like stuff like the Proud Family and iCarly, it's like at least I haven't watched the new Proud Family, but it seems like it's being repurposed for people who are older, right? It seems like it's being repurposed for people like our age who watched it when we were a kid. Like, so do you think it's okay for people to repurpose it for kids? Because I'm kind of okay with that. Like, I think it's fun. Like, if I had a kid and DuckTales came out, I'd be like, hey, do you want to watch DuckTales? And we can like watch it together, and that's fun, you know? But like, if it's like a show that's like, I don't know if I always like the iCarly treatment, is what I'm saying. Like, what do
Yeah,
you
I mean,
think?
I will agree with you. There's a difference between iCarly and DuckTales. I definitely agree with that. I just think it's too easy to do. Like it's a
Mhm,
give me. Like you can just repurpose all the old episodes and just redo them. I mean,
mhm,
it's kind of a gimme to me. And
mhm,
I think if I'm a kid who now has access to all the shows from the 90s basically and all the shows from the 80s, and I
mhm,
can go back and watch the 90s DuckTales without having you to tell me to go watch it because there's a new
mhm.
show coming out. Like, why do I want to watch the new one? Like, just give me something different now because I have all these old shows I can go back and watch. Is what I'm
Yeah, I
thinking at
mean,
least.
I think I like the nostalgia a little bit more than you, but I mean, guys, I'm giving Jonathan a really hard time, but I do actually agree with you that I think I do wish we had something new that was good, because it kind of makes the content creators of today look really like lazy and really like really
Yeah.
not talented at all,
It
because it
makes
looks
you,
like they're just
yeah. It looks
repurposing it.
not. It
Mhm,
makes you look like you don't have any talent because you basically get a free ride off of someone else's work, is what you
mhm.
get, and then
Yeah.
you end up doing a worse job than what they did originally, and it doesn't go well for anyone. Ooh, High School
Yeah.
Musical.
It's High School Musical the series, which I don't know if you watch that or not, but
Mm.
Spiderwick Chronicles, don't know that. Sneakerella, don't know anything about that. Will Smith and Chris Hemsworth are getting National Geographic series, so that's interesting. Yeah, High School Musical, the musical, the series, is gonna have Frozen songs, I guess. So, which is interesting. I don't watch that show. I think it's a really stupid idea. I,
I don't know. I think the actors and the characters kind of sold the show for the movies for me, so I'm not sure I would like the show. But I
yeah.
haven't seen the show, so it's probably unfair for me to say that. But
Well, you know the person who's in it is the girl who's like super popular right now. I can't remember her name.
Ashley
Um,
Tisdale.
no, the girl who's in the show is oh, she sings songs like "Good for You" and um Olivia Rodrigo. Have you heard of her?
No.
Wow, Jonathan, you just revealed your age to everyone. You're secretly a 45-year-old man.
I'm not. I'll be honest with you. I don't really listen to that much music except for like my favorite
people
people.
that you like,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's just too much to do these days. You know, there's too much to listen to
Well,
that
my
to spend
wife.
time finding new music is just like a hard thing for
Mhm.
me.
I mean, to your point, my wife is a music teacher, so that's how I listen. And I have a sister who's 10 years younger than me, so I actually know a little bit about Gen Z because my sister's a Gen Z. So, but she's in it, and she's like a really popular pop icon right now. So,
Interesting.
um, let me see, and that's pretty much it, man. That was pretty much it. There's a bunch of other stuff too, like little stuff like that is really unimportant, but that's basically what's going on. It seems like people are really excited about the X-Men show,
Yeah.
and they're really excited about. I liked Moon Knight a lot. Moon Knight was probably my most, because we finally got some stuff about it, and this is some artwork that they did, by the way, or some pictures from the casting. So there's a part of his suit. Get to see his hand, I guess. Um, oh, and there's him jumping in the moon that we saw in the trailer. Oh, do you want to see the She-Hulk pictures? This is
Um,
her. Oh, this is Miss Marvel. I forgot they released some Miss Marvel stuff, but I don't think they did a trailer. They may have. I'm not really excited for this. Like, I don't know. I didn't really like Captain Marvel that much. Di- So I mean, I know it's unrelated. Oh, there you go. There's some green
A leg.
from She-Hulk. And there's Bruce Banner over here. Washed up Bruce Banner as Smart Hulk, which I did not like that much.
I don't dislike Miss Marvel as much as most people do.
No, I don't dislike Miss Marvel. I think she's an interesting character because she was created to basically be like a fan.
Yeah.
And I like that aspect of her. And I played her she was kind of likable in the Avengers video game.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's where I actually started actually respecting her character a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, because that's essentially what her character is supposed to be like. But I just don't know if I'm excited about a show about her. Like, I don't know. It's just it's I'm about as excited for it as I am the Echo show. And the reason I'm excited for the Echo show is not for Echo, it's for Daredevil. So, because she's related to him through relationships. So, but anyways, that's pretty much it. So that's it for that. We got one more topic to cover, and then we're gonna have to call it quits. And so we'll try to keep it short. But anyways, before we move on to that, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. What else can they do, Jonathan?
Yes, you can follow us on all our social medias. Please do that. We're not posting stuff, but hey, why not follow us? I don't know. I don't have a valid reason for why you should, but
it's got cloudy in here. Got cloudy in here with all that shade. You just that's my fault. That's my fault. I need to.
No, I wasn't trying to call you out. I know you. I honestly wasn't trying to call you out. I was just thinking like, we don't post nothing on our social medias, but
no, but we need to. We need to stay on top of it.
Maybe if you guys follow us, that will incentivize us to start posting stuff.
It would. I would say it would incentivize us for sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
The last thing we want to talk about real fast is we save it for last because it's politics, and I don't want everybody to feel like they have to skip through the video or something, or since it's live, I don't like doing politics in the middle usually because sometimes it turns people off. Which this isn't really a political thing as much as it is just it's a big court case that's going on, and I've been listening to a little bit of it, but Kyle Rittenhouse, I think they were supposed to do. Have they said yet whether or not he is innocent or guilty? Have they put the verdict out yet?
I think they're still deliberating. I think let me check.
Really? They're still deciding? Let's see.
Yeah, it looks like they're still deliberating.
Really? Okay. That's so like the jury, you mean, is still.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. That's a long time, bro. What? Because it seems so. We've both kind of watched what's going on, and if you just look at the evidence alone, it seems like a pretty open and shut case.
Yeah.
I mean, when you say it seems pretty.
Absolutely. It seems weird that we're even having a case about it because it's so open and shut.
Mm-hmm. Mainly, if you just watch the videos that are out, I mean, it's not even. This isn't really even a political. It seems political because our culture is making it really political, but it seems almost like it's pretty obvious what happened if you just watch the videos that have been put out that have been released for a while now. They've been out for good grief, almost a year. More than a year, right? So you can go and watch them. And then they've even released through court, they've even released more videos of different angles and different viewpoints to where you can see. It's almost like anything beyond self-defense seems to be a stretch.
Yeah.
It really seems to be a stretch. I don't really see how you could argue it any other way. Because they have video of people attacking him. They have people touching his gun and his weapons. The only argument I've seen is like they think that maybe he provoked it. So could he have provoked it? But I'm pretty sure they to that. I think the evidence still points to him. I mean, what have you seen as far as on the provoking side where people have said that he provoked it? Where was he? Because the only thing I don't know of that's clear in my head because I haven't watched every piece of information is I know why he was in Kenosha. I know I don't remember why he was running up the road though. That's the only thing I don't remember. So
just a quick background for some. If you I don't know if you've been living on the rock and you don't know what's going on. Basically, this guy named Kyle Rittenhouse. He was 17 at the time. He purchased a gun through a friend, and he lived in, I think, Illinois, right? He lived in Illinois,
Mhm.
but he lives really close to Wisconsin, and his dad actually lived there, and
Mhm.
he worked there
And
as well.
his uncle.
Yeah, and his uncle and
He's
his
got
best
lots
friend.
of relatives. Yeah.
And his best friend basically lived in Kenosha, and so
Mhm.
he often drove in Kenosha. And so on the nights of when the riots were happening for the death of Jacob Blake, um, he decided. Well, he was asked through a friend to come and protect one of a car owner's business,
Mhm.
basically, and they
Mhm.
asked him to be there because that evidence for that. And so basically he went with his friend to the place to go kind of
Mhm.
he said he went twofold reasons, and this was what I thought was really impactful for me was he went not only to protect the place, but he went to offer first aid to people who were out there. So
Mhm.
if you
Yeah.
talk if they dug into his backstory and his history and stuff like that, he didn't really agree with the rioting, but the fact that he went out there to provide medical aid for people, even though he didn't agree with what they were doing, to me was like,
Yeah.
wow, that this is a special person. Like you don't get many
Mhm.
people who would be willing to do that. Going to a hostile
Mhm.
situation with people you disagree with in our current day and
Mhm.
age and go and offer them medical aid because you can.
Yeah. And there's people who say that that he wasn't a certified medical, you know, person, and
He
which
wasn't
I
an
think
EMT.
yeah,
Yeah, he
which is a really weak argument because there's no law saying you shouldn't provide. If someone's dying or hurt, oh no, you're not allowed to provide
yeah,
medical
don't give
attention to
them a
them.
band-aid. Which was
Also,
one of the arguments the prosecution made was like they're like, oh, he thought he was the ambulance, he thought he was the fire department, he thought he was the
mhm,
police. It's like,
mhm. Yeah, it's like that. That's not really.
yeah,
That's a long that's a pretty big stretch to
yeah,
make that stick. And then also, I mean, he was a lifeguard, so I mean, I've known people who are lifeguards, and unless the rules are different in Wisconsin, you have to know some basic training,
yeah,
medical training to be a lifeguard. You have to
yeah.
know they teach you CPR and they teach you other things.
Yeah,
Um,
he had
that
several
have to do with it.
several medical certifications. And
Hmm.
also he was part of a fire club, a fire boys club, or something like that. And they taught
Oh,
him
okay.
first aid and stuff like that, basic first aid.
Hmm.
But anyway, that night he was going. He was walking with a friend, walking around, just
Hmm.
trying to see if anyone needed help, anyone needed like bandages, or anyone needed anything like wrapped. He helped the lady wrap her ankle. He gave one guy band-aids, I think.
Hmm.
And as they're walking down, he loses sight of his friend, and then he starts looking around like where's his friend at, tries to find his friend. He can't find his friend. He gets a phone call from another friend who's at a different location. He says, "Hey,
Hmm.
they're burning this location down. Can you come with a fire hose, or can you come with a fire extinguisher and help them out?" So
Hmm.
he goes to the gas station to grab a fire extinguisher. He starts heading that way, and then two individuals basically are trying to get him while he's running there,
Hmm.
and that's where the shootings occur. The first person being Joseph Rosenbaum. He shoots him
Hmm.
first, and then he flees that situation. And he's running towards the police to go
Hmm.
turn himself in. And three more individuals actually confront him. One of them tries to kick him in the face. One of them hits him with
Hmm.
the skateboard, and one of them tries to shoot him. And he ends up killing one of the people, and then shooting the other one in the arm.
Well, he killed two people actually.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what the
Yeah.
first one was Rosenbaum. The second one
Oh
was
yeah.
I forgot the guy's name. Again, I'm not doing well with names
That's
today.
okay. That's all right.
But yeah, so that was the whole situation that happened, and
Mhm.
there's so much footage out there. It's actually insane how much footage we have of this event.
I was surprised too because the
Yeah,
thing is what's interesting too is the defense, which is Kyle Rittenhouse's side. They have so much evidence to back up what he was doing there. They have, they show him pretty much almost every part of that story that Jonathan just gave you. They have video evidence of where he was at, like what location he was at when he had the fire extinguisher to go put out the fire,
yeah,
when he was putting out the fire. They have him even before the riot started when he was just there protecting. It's called Car Source, I guess. I
yeah,
thought that was a fancy name, but that's actually a weird name for the car dealership. Car Source. But anyways, they have video of him there as well, and so it's really difficult to, like, I mean, what the prosecution is essentially having to do is they're having to create some sort of motive or some sort of
narrative.
reason
Yeah,
for him to, like, there's really all of the evidence does not point in that situation. It does not point to him. And the other thing is, the narrative before this was that he was a white supremacist and that he was there, and all the people he shot at were white. So,
Man,
and
these
he
white
also,
supremacists are really confused.
well,
They're
and
confused.
if you watch the video, it's like if he was a racist white supremacist who was there to kill black people, which is kind of what the narrative was. Actually, that wasn't kind of, that was the narrative. There are black people chasing him all over in the video, and he doesn't for 1 second turn around to fire his gun at them at all.
There's a blackie, get him.
Like you would think if he was that enshrined in it, as they've talked about it. And then the same thing, he immediately after he does that, he goes to the police and is like, hey, I don't know who, I don't want to, one, he's probably like, I don't want to kill anybody else, for my defense. And then the other thing is that he runs up to them and is like, hey, I shot somebody. He puts his hands up, puts his gun down. And then also throughout the videos as well, it's really hard to argue that he killed them with malicious intent when he constantly shows that he's providing proper gun safety. Almost the entire time he's had the weapon, like literally, I would say 90 to 95% of the time, he's had proper gun usage and proper gun safety. That I've taken the hunter safety course, so I've been taught how you have to hold a gun, how you're supposed to point a gun. Even whether it's loaded or not loaded, you never point it at anybody, unless you are going to use it. And there are moments where he's about to use it, but then he takes his finger off the trigger because somebody backs up, and he lowers his rifle and they back up, but then they come at him again. And so then he lifts it back up and shoots. So there's so much evidence, and I'm kind of going all over the place. Jonathan gave a little bit better description of what was going on. But the thing is, there's all these different points that are being argued that, well, he's this and he's that. But when you look at all the evidence that's going on, I don't really see how you couldn't get a not guilty verdict out of this, because there's just, and the thing is, a lot of people were saying they were going to get him on a gun charge because because they thought he was bringing a weapon into Kenosha. But that wasn't the case. The judge actually dropped that one. So it's kind of like, I don't really see what else, I don't know. Do you think that there's going to be, like, you think the jury feels threatened at all?
That's the only thing I'm concerned about, is that and this is such an unfortunate situation because as I was listening to the closing arguments from both sides, I'm not saying this is what happened, but I'm saying I understand if this is what happened. If you heard somebody say, oh, that guy just shot somebody and he's running now, I can understand your first thought being, let me get him down at least. Let me stop him so the police can arrest him or whatever. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm not all saying that's what happened or that's what these people were thinking. But
you're referring to that. You're referring to that one video where he asks Kyle, that guy who's filming it, asks Kyle, right? Like
I'm referring to like the three later suspects who come and try to get Kyle after he's like running away from them and stuff like that. I can understand the situation, and that's why I say it's unfortunate, because I can understand in that situation you're thinking, let me stop this guy and let me get his gun or whatever, let me disarm him or whatever. But I can also think from Kyle's perspective, it's like, these people are coming to kill me. Like, if I stop for a second, or if I relinquish my firearm, or if I lay down and go, hey guys, I'm not trying to kill anybody. If you do any of the surrender tactics, you you probably more than likely are going to die. Like, they're probably going to kill you, because this isn't like reasonable people anymore. These are like bloodthirsty people now. I can see that from his perspective as well, which is why it's an unfortunate situation, because you have two different perspectives where they're both being reasonable in the situation. But I don't think that just because both sides are reasonable, that means Kyle deserves to go to jail now. I think he was well within his rights to do what he did in the situation, provided the information that he had. But I do worry that the jury could be so concerned about there being more riots in Kenosha after delivering a not guilty verdict, that they might side on the side of, let's just get him on at least one of the charges, and then he doesn't do a bunch of jail time, but he does enough jail time to where people can be satisfied. I don't think that's going to satisfy the crowd. I think they want murder or nothing. But I'm concerned with the jury, and this is tough because, like the the defense attorney was saying this isn't something to play around with. Like, this is this kid's life. Like, if he goes to jail, this is something that's going to haunt him for the rest of his life. People are going to continually tell him, "Oh, you were guilty. You killed those people. Like, that was your fault." And he's going to have to live with that. Already, he's living with the fact that he still took some lives, but just the fact that them pronouncing him guilty for anything of this case is going to continually haunt him. Even if they don't pronounce him guilty, this is still going to haunt him for the rest of his life. It's like this is a terrible situation to be in if you're Kyle. I feel so bad for him. I feel so bad.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's because, I mean, we're a little bit older than him, but like I can imagine. I remember, being 18 wasn't really that far off. So it's like, yeah, we're not that old to where it's like I'm 40. So I like, I really put myself in his shoes, and that would be really a frightening experience. So I mean, I saw, and you and I talked about this earlier, but I saw so many people just like hating on him, saying like, well, he was crying on the stand and that shows that he's guilty and stuff like that. And I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but if you're watching this and you have a different side of that and you think that he was guilty and maybe crying, for out of being guilty, or that he was faking it, you're welcome to that opinion. I'm not saying that you're bad for having that opinion. However, it just kind of irritated me when I saw that, because I really don't see how, if you watch that video in full context like I did, you don't just watch him crying, which I think a lot of people probably did.
Yeah.
And then they just analyzed it and they said, oh, he's not crying. He just kind of, it's like the first time that he's put up on the stand, and immediately he breaks down. Like I'm fairly certain that's the first or second question that he's asked by his own attorney. And I mean, why wouldn't you break down? I would break down crying. Like, even if I was guilty, or if I wasn't guilty, like whether I was guilty or not, I'm living with the fact that I'm a 18-year-old kid, and I killed two people and I hurt one of them. And that in and of itself is a lot of guilt, especially on someone who does not have a history of murder, doesn't have a history of, I don't even know if they've even brought his police record into this. I don't know if he's ever gotten like a traffic ticket or anything, but from somebody who doesn't have any kind of history of this, like most people who carry a gun do, that's a really tough place to be in. I mean, that's just hard. So why wouldn't you break down? You know what I mean? Whether you're guilty or not, it shouldn't be the fact that he's guilty. It should be the fact of like, this is what happens when you take a life. And that's why you shouldn't take a life unless it's a dire circumstances, which in this situation, I believe he had to protect himself. If you just watch the video, it seems pretty obvious that that's the case. I mean,
I want to say real quick, I agree with you. I think anyone who's been through trauma, like if you talk to rape victims and you ask them about their experience in being raped and stuff like that, you will see the exact same emotional reaction, because the trauma of the event doesn't hit you really until you have to relive it by telling it to someone else. And you can see a lot of times rape victims aren't even able to get through their entire testimony, because it's just so traumatic what happened to them. Same thing with with military guys, PTSD of having, or cops with PTSD of having to shoot people. It's like you hear them talk about it, and they like when you watch Kyle through his whole time with his defense attorney, you can see he knows that he needs to get through this correctly in order for him to be able to accurately present the facts to the jury. And so he's trying to keep it together, but the emotional toll of the event overtakes him. Like he's like, it doesn't even look like a normal cry. Like he's blubbering. He's blubbering. It doesn't even come out like a natural cry. Like if you watch like people cry on movies, that's what like a natural cry looks like. But like looking at him, he doesn't even. It looks like he has no control over what just happened, and it kind of shocks him too, because he's just like, where'd that come from?
Yeah,
because it's trauma. That's what PTSD that's what it does to you. Like if you look at any studies of PTSD, you will see that that's exactly what he went through. Talk to any psychologist. That's exactly what just happened to him. He went through trauma, and now reliving that, it forces the emotional reaction from him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I agree, and that's man. Well, I mean, when he did that, right? Like when he started going through the story and everything, I put myself in a place where I had broke down and cried like that, where it was just like an ugly cry. And I was like, I remember it wasn't over something that I felt like was good. right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what we're saying. It's not, that doesn't prove whether he's guilty or not guilty. It
Yeah.
proves that he went through something traumatic that really, really hurt him, and that you can tell he doesn't want to do that, and he doesn't even like that he's in the courtroom. He probably doesn't even like that those events transpired.
Yeah.
Because I can think of things that are way less worse than taking someone's life, and they cause me problems. They cause me to break down and cry in that kind of miserable way. So I mean, and that's how you could tell it was real emotion. Because you can see someone fake cry and it's
Yeah.
nowhere near like that. But anyways, did you want to comment on the comment we just got on YouTube?
Let me check.
Here, I got it pulled up here. It's just Charlie asked, didn't his mom say he got PTSD? Did you hear that? I don't know if I did or not.
I didn't hear anything what his mom said, but I wouldn't like if he doesn't have PTSD, I'd be surprised just because
I agree. Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier, he's never done this before. This is not like he's a career criminal who has this laundry list of things he's done wrong. Like this is a 17-year-old kid, and this was his first time shooting anyone like at all. And so in one night he has to shoot 3 different people, and 2 of them actually die. Like that weight of like all that happening, of course, it's going to cause some sort of stress disorder.
I'm fairly certain that military men and police officers have the same response the first time they have to shoot someone.
Yeah,
it's not like it's not like it's this easy thing of
unless you're a psychopath. Unless you're a psychopath, then you won't feel anything. But he's clearly not a psychopath.
Basically. So I mean, I would be surprised if he didn't. I would probably have PTSD from that. I'd probably be thinking about it a lot even after the trial, even if I was not guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
You and I were just talking about this. Actually, we were talking about how like reliving that on one in front of a bunch of people, and then also on people who are watching. You have the thought of like, in that moment you have a bunch of thoughts racing through your mind, like, well, what could I have done better? What could I have done? Because even if you're not guilty, right? Even if you're not guilty, you're still going to have those issues. It's not that just because not guilty is what you want doesn't mean that you weren't hurt in the process, right? That you weren't hurt by the actions that you caused, whether they were good or not. Sometimes they're tough decisions in life, and we have to deal with those consequences. And the consequences he's having to deal with are, man, what if I could have saved them? What if I could have gone through that whole night without anybody dying? What if I would have put my hands in the air and they wouldn't have attacked me?
Yeah, what if I just didn't go that night? What if I stayed? I actually went home instead of going out. All that kind of stuff. Absolutely. I have a question for you. How do you continue to have faith in a justice system where things like this can happen?
What do you mean? Elaborate a little bit.
Like where a prosecutor can go after you, even though it was clearly self-defense, and you could still potentially go to jail for the rest of life, even though there's like videotape evidence. Because like a lot of times it's like the thing that we're missing is videotape. It's like, man, if he had been wearing a camera, things would have turned out better. But in this situation, we have all the evidence saying that he didn't do this. But now not only does he get dragged through a messy trial proceeding, he also has the potential of going to jail for the rest of his life. Or I don't know what Wisconsin is on the death penalty, but even facing a death penalty.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the person who has kept my faith in the trial is the judge himself. And that sounds funny, but like he's been low key, like he's low key been like, whenever something fishy comes up, he just like jumps on it right away. And it's funny because he's like an old dude, and I know a lot of old white dudes like him who are like, what do you think you're doing? What do you think you're doing in my courtroom? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that seems like my uncle or my cousin or I can just think of people who would do that. But I think, to be honest, he seems to be really holding it down. And if I had to make an argument, I have a feeling if this was not in front of a jury and it was just him, I think he would rule it not guilty. But obviously he's in front of a jury. I don't know if the jury's different, can he rule otherwise? Like if the jury's guilty, can he rule not guilty?
I don't think so. I'd be surprised. I think all he can do is commute the sentence, maybe. But it depends on what they rule on. So if it's like murder, obviously you can't give him like 2 years in prison for murder. So
well, I mean, I know this isn't really like a smart comment because pretty much every court case gets an appeal, but I'm sure they would appeal this.
Oh, quickly, quickly, but
as soon as possible.
the question would be: is there a new information that you could produce that would make him like more innocent than he already is? You know, because that's what
a
you're
good
going
point.
through with the appeal process. Is that well, you already went through the trial, and we already have all the information. And through that trial, having all the information, having all the experts speak, we ruled he was guilty. And so, if you're going to appeal it, do you have any new information that's going to make him less guilty than he was?
I don't know what's considered new information, but I guarantee you his attorney could probably pull something, out of his butt, so to speak. I'm sure he could. I'm sure he could. But no, but the thing is, it shouldn't have to go to an appeal, right?
Yeah.
With this much evidence, I mean, even if he was guilty, say that, maybe he did do it with malicious intent, the evidence points otherwise. The evidence, he has all the evidence in his favor. I'm not saying I want a guilty person to go free, but sometimes when the evidence that is presented shows that, it's always, the hope is that you get the correct verdict and that the person is guilty and the person who's not guilty is not guilty. But I mean, that's kind of what I think anyways.
Yeah. I don't want this to get too political. Like, this is not about politics, guys. This is just about a person's life, and we're commenting on whether or not what we think happened in that case. I feel bad for him. I feel really, really bad for him, and I understand people who have lost a little bit of faith in our justice system because of such instances like this. The fact that we could even have a trial, the fact that we're even having a trial in the first place is crazy to me. And the fact that he could potentially, based on a jury's decision, who could be being influenced externally to go to jail, is like, it's
just difficult. It's difficult when you look at evidence alone. You know what I mean? Like, if you drown out the news, you drown out everything else. You drown out what your neighbors are hearing, right?
Yeah.
What they're telling you, or even what somebody on YouTube's telling you, right? You just drown that all out, and then solely look at, okay, what evidence, only research the case and only look at the evidence. It doesn't really seem that you can vote either way for it to be guilty. It seems like it has to be not guilty would be the verdict. I mean, if I was a jury, but I'm not, so that's how it is.
I'm not gonna say I've lost complete faith. So I have faith that there's going to be a not guilty verdict, and I mean, the evidence is just too overwhelming. Now, what are the results of that going to be? Like, what's that going to mean for our culture? What's that going to mean for Kenosha? I have no idea. I would really hope that the police prepare for something like this, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I have to say is that the prosecution has some really crazy, weird arguments. I've said, like, I feel like if you're going to
provocation. You were talking about provocation earlier. I wanted to comment on that. The stipulation is you lose your right to self-defense if you provoke it. But if you try to escape the situation, even after you provoke the situation, if you've exhausted your means for escape, you still have the right to defend yourself. So even if we were to take the argument, which I don't believe at all is true, that he provoked Josh Rosenbaum, or whatever his name is, Rosenbaum, which I don't believe is true at all. I don't believe that he provoked him at all.
You still have the right to defend yourself.
You still have the right to defend yourself if you at least try to escape the situation. And we can see him in the video running away from Rosenbaum. Like, he's literally trying to run away from him. So if your mentality is, I have an AR-15, I'm out here to kill some people, why run away in the first place? Like, why run away?
Yeah. So it's like plus I don't know why you would provoke a mob or provoke.
Yeah. Even with the gun, like, provoking a mob doesn't make sense.
Like, and the only person I feel like you could say he provoked would be Rosenbaum, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the only person you could argue that he provoked, because he didn't provoke the guy who was filming him, who started chasing after him, and I don't believe he could have provoked the other two, at least from the film we've seen.
Yeah.
And from what's been testified in court. So it's one of those things where it's like, the guy he would have provoked is dead, and then the other two, which I don't know how that would work in a court ruling, right? So we're kind of taking devil's advocate here. But if you did prove he provoked, and the person that he provoked is dead, and the other two he didn't, so what is that, like, one, but you could murder? Is it murder? Like, if he was, but if he was defending himself, because we're not lawyers, so is it murder if he was defending himself?
Well,
I mean,
that's the point I was making.
and we're
Because
talking,
he still tries to get away. Like, even if you say, okay, he ran up and said something to Rosenbaum, and then now Rosenbaum is following him, it's like, okay, well, he looks back, sees Rosenbaum, and starts running away. So now he's trying to escape the situation. So whatever claim to provocation that Rosenbaum had ended when he started chasing him. So once the chase scene happens, Rosenbaum loses all credibility of, oh, he provoked me, because now he's clearly trying to escape you. And once you get him boxed in with all the cars on his side, he can't go anywhere else except turn back around towards you. It's self-defense at that point. That's how I understand the law. I could be wrong, but that's how I understand the law.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is I think people in stories like this, which is understandable, right? It's a very emotional story, no matter what side you're taking, or whether he's guilty or not guilty. Again, I would recommend everybody try to be as unbiased as possible. And the good thing is we have a court system. That's the whole point of the court system. Is we're supposed to be unbiased to hopefully find out who did right or wrong. And I would hope that's what every normal person would want. I would hope they'd want to make sure that the bad person who did what was wrong is in prison, and the good person who didn't do anything wrong is free. And it's not always as black and white as that. Sometimes it's a lot more gray. So I'm hoping everybody has to serve whatever time they have to serve, whatever. And the thing is, I think sometimes we have to take a lot of emotion away from it, especially when it's a case like this. It's like and the thing is, legal speak is very different than commonplace speak, right? So for instance, the reason I'm saying this is because we were just talking about how I was like, well, if he provoked him, but he's allowed to use self-defense, does that mean that he murdered him? And somebody on the street would be like, yeah, that did mean he murdered him because he provoked him. And it's like, but in law, that's not how it works, right?
Yeah.
The law you have the law of self-defense. So just because somebody provokes you does not mean you should go and try to attack him, because now that guy has self-defense on his side, right? So it's one of those things where it's like you have to take your emotions out of it, because I mean, to be honest, my bias is pretty obvious. I mean, I want him to be found not guilty. But if the law proves him guilty, well, my hope would be that he appeals and he can get off, and in my version of justice would be done. But the only way you can really tell what justice is being done in America is by the court of law. And so I think a lot of people my whole point is, I think a lot of people get their emotions wrapped up into what's going on, and that can be really dangerous for your neighbor, so to speak. That can really be dangerous,
and just
for
trying
your
to
friend.
see the stuff, see everything clearly. Like when you're
Yeah.
blinded by your emotions, you can't see clearly. Like you can't see logically. So I totally
that goes for everybody, right? That goes for you could even go back to like the George Floyd case of people saying whether he I forgot what was the cop's name again? Chauvin. Of whether he should go to prison or not. You had very emotional arguments on both sides. You had people being like, he needs to go to prison, and you had people being like, well, if he doesn't go to prison, like then our justice system is just out the window and everything. And it's like, well, they're not looking at it with the law, right? And people still interpret the law differently, but at least with the law you can still use commonplace terms, and you can try to have a civil discussion on what's going to happen. So I mean, we're not lawyers, but I would hope that I hope he goes free. I feel like from the evidence that's been provided, that seems to be what's going to happen, but we don't know. And it'll be exciting to see what happens. And you know what? I mean, hopefully no matter what happens, people can still go out and be nice to each other and care about each other, and not take this as some sort of big personal threat, I guess. So, but that's just my white ignorance. I mean,
yes. Last thing I want to say, just guys, the facts matter. Like, we can call him all the names we want in the book, but if we don't have any facts to back that stuff up, just because CNN and MSNBC or even Fox News project a certain narrative, that does not matter. Like, I need to see the facts. The facts are what we've seen in the videos. Those are the facts. You can't even listen to what the prosecution or the defense say, because sometimes their language is influenced with the decision they want you to make. You have to look at the facts for yourself. Again, like Eric said, withdrawn from emotion. Like, I was emotional because I thought this was self-defense so clearly when I first saw it. But I was like, no, let me listen to everyone's side. without any emotion and just see if I can come to a sound conclusion. Conclusion I came to, not guilty. This is a not guilty case because without emotion, looking at it logically, looking at the evidence that we have, only evidence we see is that Rosenbaum is trying to kill this guy. He's trying to kill him. He's trying to grab his gun. We got the gunpowder on his hand because he touched the barrel. We know that he was lunging at him. We know that he told him, "I'll kill you if I see you again." We know this. Like these are the facts that we have. So based on those facts, this should be a not guilty. Should be an easy not guilty.
And if anybody is qualified to be a lawyer, it'd be Jonathan. Out of us too. So you're always better. You're always better at forming arguments in the moment. I'm never good at extemporaneous. Like I can think about it a little bit and be like, "Hey, that was a good point," but my points always come like 15 minutes later.
Good at thinking on my feet. I will say that I've always been good at thinking on my feet, like especially when it comes to arguing. But that's just because of the household I grew up in. Like my siblings will all attest that we all argue hard. Like all of us argue so hard, and it's all about who has the best point. And so you had to be able to think on your feet very, 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 very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that is going to be our. I mean, I guess you want to call it that. Anything else you got to say?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, well, wait. I see some comments. I didn't.
Yeah. Go ahead. Look at the comments, man. Do you think that if Rittenhouse was black, this would have been an issue? That's what I have somebody asking, basically, or not asking, stating, but.
I disagree. I would side with the same person if, regardless of their skin color, I would side with the same person. If he was black, he was white. I think the exact same thing would happen. The person I'm probably the most upset about is the police, that he turned himself into the police and they were like, "You better go home." And I'm like, wait, he just said he shot somebody. Like, should we arrest this guy? Like, I don't know about that. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
No, if this had been a black guy, this would have been the same exact situation we gone through. I think honestly, I think it would have been better if he was black, because I don't think he would have got arrested for this. I think they would have been like, "Oh, well, he's a black guy. We can't say the black guy's a racist."
Oh, because
we can't say the black guy is a white supremacist. Yeah, we can't say the black guy did anything wrong. Like we can't do that. So I think it would have probably been better for him had he been black. So.
I mean, there was a lot of rioting going on that night, so I mean, I would imagine the cops probably would have taken a blind eye to everything that was going on. That's probably why they did that to Kyle, to be honest.
Well, also, I think Rosenbaum wouldn't have messed with him if he was black. I mean, honestly, I just don't think he would have messed with him. Like, I don't think at all he would have messed with him.
I think if the evidence was the same, I think that a black guy would have gone free just as much of a white guy. Because to be honest, if you look at what's happening right now, it's a white guy killing white people. So therefore, there's not any kind of racist argument that really sticks, legally speaking. If it's a black guy versus a white guy, there is some racial charging. If it was a black guy killing black people, then there's no really racial, oh, he's a racist, he killed somebody. So you can't really accuse in those scenarios. Whereas I think in the middle one, you could. If it was a white guy killing black people or a black guy killing white people, then you would probably see that argument of this is a racist thing happening, but it just doesn't stick when you're killing people of the same, like he must really hate himself. He must hate it. He just wakes up in the morning and he's like, the Lord cursed me.
That's what I'm telling you, man. These white supremacists are not doing a good job. They're like, these are the worst white supremacists we've ever had. They're just like, we gotta.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I was about to say we gotta bring back the KKK. Oh man,
Stop. No, don't you dare!
I'm kidding. I'm clearly joking, guys. I'm laughing at it, okay? Because I'm clearly joking. I'm just saying it's just funny to me that like we're calling him a racist, but he only killed the white people. It's like, and the white guy was the one who said the N-word. The Rosenbaum was the one who said the N-word. So
that's true.
It's just funny to me to hear the takes that people have on this.
He almost in that sense he killed the racist.
And the child molesters and
Did you see the guy in court? The prosecution glossed over that fact.
Yeah,
he was like, he said a bad word. He said,
but
and I was like
tisk tisk tisk. I was like, wow, that's okay. We can do that now.
I didn't know we could do that
to a white guy saying the N-word like twice.
I don't think that's ever been allowed. I don't think that's ever been allowed in the last 30 years for like a white guy to just say it and people go tisk tisk tisk.
Don't do that, Billy.
Slap on the hand.
That's more like from your job for that. Like I thought you got fired from your job. I thought you got.
I think so.
Run out of the building. Like I thought you couldn't go back to work. because you said the N
I
word.
think so.
It's like, oh, the
That's
double
funny.
standards are beautiful. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. They're a beautiful thing in this country.
Well, anyways, I think that is going to be our Rittenhouse review and Mickey
Yes,
too.
sir.
So we're wrapping up. We're wrapping up our 8th episode. It's been good so far, man. I've been
Yeah,
enjoying
man.
it.
I've been
Have
having
good
fun.
conversation.
We were
Thank
supposed to
you,
do it's supposed to be an hour and a half show.
Yeah, well, it's almost 2.5. Man. Well, to be honest, we're 14 minutes off the time frame I wanted to stop, so it's okay. We'll be
Okay.
all right. So that means that if I wouldn't have sped us up, I mean, we spent I said a little bit, kept us with Rittenhouse a little bit. We talked a little bit
Yeah.
about that, but the if I wouldn't have slowed us down, we'd be hitting close to like 3 hours right now, so which is crazy. But anyways, but thank you everybody who commented and stuff. We
Yes,
appreciate
everybody
it.
who
Thank you.
commented. Thank you guys. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
the conversation. This is what we want.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We want people to talk and just let us know their opinions. And sometimes we won't always respond because sometimes we've got to hurry up and get through. But I'm glad that we were able to respond to some of the ones that we could. It made us happy. So we're just trying to keep an open dialogue and let people know their thoughts. And hopefully one of these days we can get to that Q&A
Yes.
session that we'd love to have. That would be a lot of
Absolutely.
fun. But we're not all politics here. Just for those people watching, just reminding you guys, we talk about just things that are going on in the culture. We'll talk about, TV and movies. We'll talk about music. We'll talk about, sometimes we'll talk a little bit about politics. We talk about sports, all
Yes.
different kinds of stuff.
And we have a new segment coming up too.
We do. That's right, don't we? What's the name of it?
Chef's Corner.
Chef's Corner. We haven't
gotta come up with a name for that. We're not very good with these things. Like you guys should have seen how long it took us to come up with our channel name. It took us so long to come up with the channel name.
And the sad thing is that's still a work in progress. Like it could change in like a year or so. You don't know. So anyways, but that's gonna be it. I think we're gonna sign off. But go ahead.
Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, or if you think we were horribly off base on this video, just give us a dislike. No one will ever see it but us.
That's fine. Know. Yeah, just let us know if you hated it. Just let us know. It's fine, and we're happy with it. We'll just be like, we'll literally be like, bro, we got a dislike. Did you see that? We got our first We're so happy because we're such a small channel. So, anyways, but go ahead. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah.
All it's gonna be at.
Tell your friends about us if you dislike us too. Y'all can come and hate watch us. We love it. We love it.
Yeah, and you'll see all the handles in the outro video. But anyways, besides that, this was Just Visiting. I'm Eric. That's Jonathan. Thank you guys for watching today. We hope you have a wonderful evening and stay safe this week and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.